Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin very shortly. Please take your seats. We kindly ask everyone to take their seats, please. Okay. Dear colleagues, we will begin very shortly. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin very shortly. Please take your seats. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, biz tez orada boshlaymiz. Iltimos qilib qolamiz, hammalaridan joylarini egallashlarini. Rahmat. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start our today's meeting. Please take your seats. Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, xalqaro va mahalliy hamkor tashkilot vakillari. Barchangizni ta'lim sektorini muvofiqlashtirish mahalliy ta'lim guruhining 2022-yilda tashkil etilayotgan ikkinchi davra suhbatida ko'rib turganimizdan behad mamnunmiz. Yodingizda bo'lsa, mahalliy ta'lim guruhining 2022-yildagi birinchi uchrashuvi joriy yilning 29-aprel sanasi kunida aynan shu zalda bo'lib o'tgan edi. Va unda ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondi, GP va xalqaro tashkilotlar bilan hamkorlikda xalq ta'limi tizimida olib borilayotgan islohotlar sarhisobi va kelgusidagi istiqbolli rejalarni amalga oshirish yuzasidan davra suhbati o'tkazilgan edi. Bugungi mahalliy ta'lim guruhining ikkinchi uchrashuvi esa boshlangan tashabbusimizning mantiqiy davomi hisoblanadi. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, barchangizga ma'lumki, ta'lim tizimini tubdan yaxshilash, pedagog kadrlarimiz salohiyatini oshirish hamda zamonaviy o'quv maskanlarida sifatli ta'lim berish va bu orqali yuqori salohiyatli hamda fidoyi yoshlarni tarbiyalash bo'yicha davlatimiz rahbari tomonidan olib borilayotgan islohotlar ko'lami kundan kunga kengayib, ortib bormoqda va hech mubolag'asiz ushbu maqsadlarga erishish yo'lida ta'lim sohasida olib borilayotgan islohotlar va o'zgarishlarning o'rni, ahamiyati benihoyat kattadir. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, ma'lumki, ta'lim sohasi va uning qamrovi juda ham keng hisoblanadi va bugungi kunda mazkur sohada mamlakatimizda 40 dan ortiq mahalliy va xalqaro tashkilotlar bevosita va bilvosita o'z faoliyatlarini olib bormoqda. Soha qamrovining kengligi va undagi ishtirokchilar sonining ko'pligi tabiiyki ko'pchiligimizda savol tug'dirishi tabiiy holat. Xo'sh, mazkur tashkilot va idoralar tomonidan amalga oshirilayotgan amallar va tadbirlar xalqaro darajada qanchalik tartibga solingan yoki qanchalik darajada bir-birini to'ldirib turadi? Agar ta'lim sohasiga mahalliy yoki chet ellik investitsiyasi kiritilishi kerak bo'lsa, barcha ta'lim sohasi vakillari tomonidan kelishilgan ta'limni rivojlantirish yo'nalishlari belgilab berilganmi? Shu kabi savollarga bugungi uchrashuvimiz javob beradi. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, bugungi uchrashuvimizning yana bir sababchisi bu ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondi GP bo'lib, ushbu tashkilot tomonidan O'zbekiston Respublikasi uchun ajratilishi mumkin bo'lgan grant dasturlari yuzasidan muhokamalar ham bugungi uchrashuvimiz tartibidan o'rin olgan. Barchangizga yana bir bor bugungi tadbirimizga tashrif buyurganligingiz uchun o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etgan holda, mahalliy ta'lim guruhining bugungi davra suhbatini ochib berish uchun so'z navbatini Xalq ta'limi vaziri hurmatli Saidov Baxtiyor Odilovichga bersak. Marhamat.
Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli bugungi tadbir ishtirokchilari. Avvalambor shu fursatdan foydalanib, bugungi tadbirda ishtirokingiz uchun chuqur minnatdorchiligimizni bildirmoqchimiz. Va albatta bugungi kunda ta'lim umuman O'zbekistonda dolzarb bir yo'nalish, dolzarb bir masala bo'lib qolmoqda. Xabaringiz bor, muhtaram prezidentimiz mana oxirgi yillar mobaynida birinchi ustuvor yo'nalish sifatida aynan ta'lim tizimini birinchi o'sha pog'onaga ko'targan holda, birinchi o'sha raqamli masala sifatida ko'rilgan holda e'tiborni kuchaytirib kelmoqdalar. Va albatta ta'lim tizimiga e'tiborni davlat rahbari darajasida, ya'ni davlat siyosati darajasida ko'tarilganligi ham bejiz emas. Shuning uchun ham bugungi kunda mana ta'lim yo'nalishi bo'yicha barcha mana bilasizlar, albatta xabaringlar bor. O'zbekiston Respublikasida asosan ta'lim yo'nalishi bo'yicha 3 ta asosiy vazirlik, ya'ni bu Maktabgacha ta'lim vazirligi, Xalq ta'lim vazirligi va Oliy ta'lim vazirliklari bugungi kunda faoliyat olib borishmoqda. Va bu 3 ta vazirlikni ham bugungi kundagi eng asosiy masalasi bu ta'lim sifatini demak oshirish va ta'lim sifatini demak takomillashtirish hisoblanadi. Shundan kelib chiqib biz O'zbekiston Respublikasida aynan shu umumiy ta'limimizni raqobatbardosh qilish maqsadida kerak bo'lsa va u tizimni va umuman bu yo'nalishni rivojlantirish uchun qanaqa strategiyaga bugun ega bo'lganmiz degan savolga biz hammamiz javobni qidirib yuribmiz, gapni ochig'i. Albatta strategiyamiz bor. Har bir vazirlikni demak o'zining darajasida bir aniq belgilangan strategiyasi mavjud. Va bu strategiya bugungi kunda yaxshi o'zini natijalarini va yaxshi o'zini kerak bo'lsa bir yutuqlarini ko'rsatib kelmoqda. Mana xabaringiz bor, kuni kecha o'tgan hafta demak ta'lim yo'nalishi bo'yicha, ya'ni maktabgacha ta'lim bo'yicha butunjahon konferensiyasi aynan Toshkentda o'tkazildi va bu demak tadbirda butun dunyodan 1,5 mingga yaqin demak bizning hamkor davlatlarimiz, hamkorlarimiz va umuman UNESCO o'sha yordami bilan tashkillashtirilgan bu tadbirda barcha o'sha ta'limga befarq bo'lmagan davlatlarni vazirlari darajasida kerak bo'lsa qatnashishdi. Va bu tadbir albatta bugungi kunda biz yanada o'sha tadbir davomida ko'rdik. Qay darajada o'sha maktabgacha ta'limdan boshlab kerak bo'lsa oliy ta'limgacha bo'lgan butun boshli uzluksiz o'sha ta'lim tizimi bugungi kungacha qay darajada dolzarbligini biz yanada o'zimiz o'sha tadbirda yana bir bor buni guvohi bo'ldik. Va shu fursatdan foydalanib men o'sha tadbirni tashkillashtirilishida UNESCO'ni vakili demak Sara Noshadiy xonim ham o'tiribdilar va Sara Noshadiy xonim orqali demak butun UNESCOga minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz va albatta O'zbekiston tomonidan bu tadbirdan tashkillashtirilishida Maktabgacha ta'lim vazirligi va bevosita mana ko'rib turibsizlar Agrippina Vasilyevna Shin ham o'zlari ishtirok etmoqdalar va bu tadbirda a'lo darajada, yuqori darajada o'tkazilishida aynan shu ikkita tashkilot UNESCO bilan Maktabgacha ta'lim vazirligi katta hissasini qo'shdi va ancha yutuqlarga erishdi va u platformada hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari biz juda ko'plab uchrashuvlar o'tkazdik. U platformada biz juda ko'plab demak fikr almashdik. Dunyodagi umuman ta'limdagi muammolarni biz bir-birimiz bilan tajribamizni o'sha muammolarni yechimi bo'yicha tajribamizni kerak bo'lsa almashuv jarayonini takomillashtirdik va bu kelajakda albatta katta natijalarga erishishga ishonchim komil. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, albatta bugungi tadbirimizni muhimligi shundan iboratki, biz kelajakda mana yaqin aytaylik 3 yillik yaqin kelajakdagi istiqboldagi rejalarimiz va kerak bo'lsa uzoq istiqboldagi rejalarimizni ham belgilab olinishda bugungi tadbir juda muhim hisoblanadi va shundan kelib chiqib mana mahalliy ta'lim tashkilotlari, vazirliklari, idoralari ishtirokidagi bugungi tadbirni ham bejiz emas, chunki hamma o'zini fikrini bevosita shu platformada bildirilishi mumkin va bildirishi bilan birgalikda biz uni yechimini birgalikda topishga va o'sha yechimini albatta topish bilan birgalikda amalga oshirishda o'zimizni hissamizni qo'shamiz degan umiddaman. Hurmatli tadbir tashkilotchilari, tadbir ishtirokchilari, barchangizga ma'lum, so'nggi yillarda o'sha hurmatli prezidentimiz Shavkat Mirziyoyev janob oliylari rahbarliklarida mamlakatimiz ta'lim sohasini rivojlantirish maqsadida katta islohotlar amalga oshirilib kelinmoqda. Ushbu islohotlarning ahamiyati shundaki, bir tarafdan islohotlar juda yuqori tezlik bilan amalga oshirilayotgan bo'lsa, ikkinchi tarafdan har bir ilgari surilayotgan tashabbus ta'lim tizimidagi eng og'riqli nuqtalarni aniqlash va unga amaliy yechim topishga qaratilganligi ayni haqiqat hisoblanadi. Bularning barchasi albatta hurmatli prezidentimiz tomonidan yuritilayotgan ichki va tashqi ochiqlik siyosati, shuningdek ular tomonidan ta'lim sohasini rivojlantirishni kun tartibidagi eng dolzarb strategik masala etib belgilab berganliklari tufayli desak ham adolatdan bo'ladi. Ijozatingiz bilan O'zbekiston xalq ta'limi tizimida amalga oshirilayotgan hamda bajarilishi lozim bo'lgan ustuvor vazifalarga qisqacha to'xtalib o'tsam. Hozirgi kunda xabaringiz bor, barchangizni men o'ylaymanki xabaringiz bor. Hozirgi kunda mamlakatimizda 10.100 dan ortiq umumta'lim maktablari mavjud. Bo'lgan mamlakat va boshqacha qilib aytganda O'zbekiston hozirgi kunda o'rta demografik dividend deb tasdiqlanadigan toifaga kiradi. Davlat statistika qo'mitasining ma'lumotiga ko'ra, mamlakatimiz aholisi soni kuniga 1.10 dan ya'ni 1800 kishiga oshmoqda. Bilasizlar, mana bugungi kunda hozir aholimizni soni ham 36 millionga yetib qoldi va bu albatta biz uchun juda katta chaqiriq va shu aholi o'sishi bilan birgalikda bizda o'sha o'quvchilar soni ham umuman maktabgacha ta'lim vazirligida bolalarimizni soni ham demak maktabda ham o'quvchilar soni bugungi kunda ko'payib bormoqda. Mana misol uchun aytmoqchiman, shu o'quv yilining o'zida maktablarga 707 mingdan ziyod birinchi sinf o'quvchilarini qabul qildik. Ya'ni biz keyingi yil hozir keyingi yilni prognozni ham tahlilni ham qilib turibmiz. Keyingi yilga bu raqam 800 mingdan oshadi. Hattoki 850 mingga boradi degan, demak bizni aniq bir tahlilimiz bor. Va bu raqam 2025-yilga borib esa 1 milliondan ortiq maktab yoshidagi bolalarni birinchi sinfga qabul qilishga to'g'ri kelib qoladi. O'zbekiston maktablarida o'rinlar soni, ya'ni o'quvchilar sonidan 1 milliontaga, hattoki 1.2 million, mana bugungi bu yilgi o'quv yilini gapiradigan bo'lsak, 1.2 millionga demak kam hisoblanadi. Ayni paytda maktablarimizda mana 5.2 million o'quvchi joy mavjud bo'ladigan bo'lsa, 6.4 aytib o'tganimdek 6.4 million o'quvchimiz bugun ta'lim olib kelishmoqda. Ya'ni 25-yilga borib bu farq 2 millionga chiqishi mumkin. Agar biz hozir demak keskin choralar ko'rmasak, ya'ni o'sha maktablarda o'quvchi o'rinlarini ko'paytirmasak, biz o'sha bir og'ir ahvolga tushishimiz mumkin. Bu esa o'sha qisqa vaqt ichida qo'shimcha kamida 1.2, 1.5, ya'ni 1.5 million o'quvchi joyi yaratilishi lozim degani. Bu borada men sizlarga ochiq bir platforma bo'lganligi uchun ochiq aytmoqchiman. Davlatimiz rahbari, ya'ni prezidentimiz bu borada juda ko'p demak ko'rsatmalar berib kelmoqdalar va aynan shu yo'nalishda biz bir 5 yillik dasturni tasdiqlab olganmiz. Ya'ni keyingi 5 yilda biz qancha o'quvchi o'rni yaratamiz va umuman 5 yillik dasturda barcha o'sha xalq ta'limi tizimida qiladigan ishlarimizni o'zimiz uchun belgilab olganmiz. Mana misol uchun aytadigan bo'lsak, bu yilning o'zida biz o'sha rejalashtirgan edik 150 ming o'quvchi o'rnini yaratish o'sha bir belgilab olgan edik va 150 ming o'quvchi o'rni yaratish uchun biz demak 600 dan ortiq maktablarimizni qayta ta'mirlab, qo'shimcha binolar qurib va undan tashqari 600 dan tashqari 55 dan ortiq yangi maktablar qurish yo'li bilan demak biz 149 ming yangi o'quvchi o'rinlarini yaratishga muvaffaq bo'ldik. Bu esa albatta ochiqni aytish kerak, biz qo'ygan miqdorni, ya'ni 1.2 dan 1.5, ya'ni 1.5 milliongacha o'quvchi o'rni qilamiz degan rejani amalga oshiradigan bo'lsak, biz kamida har yili 200 ming yangi o'quvchi o'rni qilishimizga to'g'ri keladi. Agar biz har yili 200 ming o'quvchi o'rni O'zbekistonda yaratmasak, demak biz o'sha demak demografik chaqiruvlarga demak to'la to'kis javob bera olmasligimiz mumkin. Shundan kelib chiqib, mana ochig'ini aytishimiz kerak. Bugungi kunda o'sha aytib o'tganimdek 10 mingdan ortiq maktab bo'ladigan bo'lsa, 10 mingdan 3 mingdan ortig'i bugungi kunda ta'mirtalab maktablar hisoblanadi. Ya'ni biz 3 mingta maktabimizni bugungi kunda agar ta'mirini joyiga qo'yish bilan birgalikda, unda albatta bir qo'shimcha bilasizlar, maktab O'zbekistonda maktab hududlari keng va katta. Oldindan shunaqa rejalashtirilgan maktablar qurilish davomida hududlar bunga ijozat beradi. Bizga shunaqa sharoitga yoki qo'shimcha bino qurilishiga demak imkoniyatimiz bor. Shundan kelib chiqib o'sha 3 mingta maktabimizni kerak bo'lsa ta'miri bilan birgalikda biz qo'shimcha bino qurilishiga muvaffaq bo'lamiz degan umiddamiz. Va shu bilan birga biz mana hisob kitobini qildik. Ya'ni o'sha 3 mingta maktabni biz birdaniga hozir boshlasak, ta'mirini va o'sha qo'shimcha bino qurilishini bugungi kunda 36 trillion so'mdan ko'proq mablag' kerak bo'lar ekan va bu agar o'sha Amerika dollarida aytadigan bo'lsak, 3.2 milliard kamida demak dollar mablag' talab etilar ekan. Shu ko'rib turganingizdek, faqatgina infratuzilmani o'zi katta resurs talab etilmoqda va bu katta resursni albatta davlat tomonidan ajratilishi va bu bo'yicha demak aniq bir rejaga egamiz desak bo'ladi, lekin bunaqa katta miqdordagi demak maktablarni tezlik ravishda qurilishini va ularni ta'mirlanishiga afsuski biz birdaniga o'sha xohlagandek qila olmasligimizni biz aytib o'tishimiz joiz. Shu sababli biz xalqaro moliyaviy tashkilotlar tomonidan ajratiladigan mablag'larni maqsad sari to'g'ri yo'naltirish bugungi kunda har qachondan ham afzalroq va har qachondan ham kerak bo'lsa muhimroq hisoblanadi. Hurmatli hamkorlar, maktabdagi ta'lim sifati uning infratuzilmasidan ko'ra ochig'ini aytish kerak, undagi o'qituvchilarni sifatiga ko'proq bog'liq desak to'g'ri bo'ladi. Ya'ni hech qachon maktabdagi ta'lim sifati o'qituvchini bilim darajasidan yuqori bo'lmasligi bu aniq. Buni biz mana hamkorlarimiz bilan ham ko'p uchrashuvlarda bu bo'yicha gaplashganmiz. Ya'ni maktab o'qituvchilari agar bilim darajasi qanaqa bo'ladigan bo'lsa, o'sha maktabdagi ta'lim sifati ham shu darajada bo'lishi aniq. Undan-da yuqori bo'lishi mumkin emas. Bu biz albatta o'sha maktablarda yurganimizda hurmatli ustoz pedagoglarimiz bilan ko'p suhbat qilganimizda ham biz bugungi kundagi ko'p muammolarimizni hozir ko'rib turibmiz. Shuning uchun ham mana bugungi kunda bilasizlar, aytib o'tdim, 500 mingdan ortiq ustozlarimizni agar biz gapiradigan bo'lsak, ya'ni o'sha 500 mingdan ortiq ustoz va pedagoglarimizni malaka darajalarini kerak bo'lsa biz ko'tarishimiz kerak bo'ladi va ta'lim sifatini ular orqali biz rivojlantirishimizga to'g'ri keladi. Xalq ta'limi vazirligi tomonidan so'nggi paytlarda maktab o'qituvchilarining bilim va ko'nikmalarini baholash hamda ularni malakasini oshirish borasida keng ko'lamli loyihalar amalga oshirilib kelinmoqda. Malaka oshirish tizimi davriylikdan uzluksizlikka o'tkazilib, endilikda har bir o'qituvchi har yil davomida o'z malakasini oshirib borishi talab etiladi. Ya'ni buning uchun esa malaka oshirish kurslari mazmunini har yili yangilab borish kerak bo'ladi. Biz hozir har bir o'qituvchini kasb standartlariga muvofiq 7 ta kompetensiya bo'yicha malakasini oshirib, har bir o'qituvchini bilimini diagnostikadan o'tkazgan holda individual kasbiy rivojlanish trayektoriyasini yaratmoqdamiz. Mana ochig'ini aytish kerak, bu yo'nalish bo'yicha biz UNICEF mana bevosita janob Mamedzadega men katta minnatdorchiligimni bildirmoqchiman. Bu yo'nalish bo'yicha biz UNICEF bilan birgalikda bir qancha loyihalarni amalga oshirdik. Ya'ni aynan shu hurmatli ustozlarimizni, pedagoglarimizni diagnostika qilish bo'yicha demak bir katta loyihani amalga oshirish yo'li bilan hozirgi kunda o'sha 500 mingdan ortiq o'qituvchi ustozlarimizni 454 mingini diagnostikadan o'tkazib bo'ldik. Ya'ni bizda hozir aniq va ravshan bir tasavvur va aniq bir kartina deylik, ruschalab, haligi bir aniq ravshan bir tasavvurga egamiz. Bugungi kunda o'sha aynan 454 ming ustoz va o'qituvchilarimiz qanaqa darajada ekanligini biz hozir buni biz juda ham yaxshi bilamiz. Hayot davomida ta'lim olish tamoyili asosida yangi uzluksiz kasbiy ta'lim elektron platformasi orqali maxsus toifaga tayyorlash mexanizmi joriy qilingani sabab toifaga ega o'qituvchilar soni bugungi kunda 220 mingdan 325 mingga ko'paydi. Ya'ni oldin o'sha umumiy miqdordan 43% bo'lgan bo'lsa, bugungi kunda 65% ga yaqinlashdi. Bu ham katta yutuq biz uchun. Aynan shu kerak bo'lsa diagnostika qilish yo'li bilan biz ustozlarimizga qayerda ularni qaysi kompetensiya bo'yicha, o'sha aytib o'tganimdek 7 kompetensiyada qaysi kompetensiyada ularning kamchiligi bor bo'lsa, o'sha kompetensiyaga ko'proq o'zini yo'naltirgan holda shu bilan birgalikda bilim darajasini oshirish yo'li bilan demak toifasiz o'sha toifali o'qituvchilarimiz oldin yana aytib o'taman 44% ga yaqin bo'ladigan bo'lsa, hozir kunda shu 65% ga yaqinlashib qoldi. Ya'ni birdaniga 20% ga oshirishga muvaffaq bo'ldik. Bu juda biz uchun katta yutuq, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari. Bundan tashqari o'qituvchilar oylik maoshini oshirib borish hamda ularni o'z ustlarida ishlashlarini ta'minlash maqsadida biz fanlar kesimida sertifikatsiyalash ishlarini jadal boshlab yuborganmiz. Buning natijasida hozirgi kunga kelib boshqa tarmoq sohalaridan farqli ravishda ilk marotaba belgilangan eng kam ish haqi miqdoriga bog'liq bo'lmagan holda pedagog xodimlarning ish haqqi 2 bosqichda, ya'ni 1,5 barobarga oshirildi. Bugungi kunda pedagoglarning o'rtacha oyligi demak o'sha 3,2 million so'm bo'ladigan bo'lsa, oliy toifali o'qituvchining ish haqqi bu o'sha 4 million so'mga yaqinlashib qoldi va eng yuqori o'rtacha oylik oladigan pedagoglarimizni demak miqdori bu 15 million so'mgacha yetib bordi. Buni hammaning xabari bor. Mana muhtaram prezidentimiz ham bekorga bejizga aytmaganlar. Bugungi kunda o'sha ustozlarimizni, o'zini ustida ishlagan ustozlarimizni, ya'ni o'zini saviyasini, bilim darajasini ko'targan va doimiy ravishda o'zini o'sha ko'nikmalarini, pedagogik mahoratini oshirib boradigan ustozlarimizga albatta rag'bat bo'ladi va ular o'sha alohida toifaga ega bo'lib, yana bilasizlar, biz sertifikatsiya tizimini joriy etganimizdan keyin sertifikatlar olish yo'li bilan o'zini demak oyligini oshirib borishga muvaffaq bo'lib kelishmoqda. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, tizimdagi olib borilayotgan islohotlar samarasiga eng xolis bahoni albatta maktab o'quvchilarining salohiyati bera oladi desak, ayni haqiqatni aytgan bo'lamiz. Boshqa so'z bilan aytganda, o'quvchilarni bilimini tizimli baholash biz uchun strategik masalalardan biri hisoblanadi. Ya'ni biz o'sha maktabdagi ta'lim sifatini o'quvchini baholash bilan biz bilib olamiz. Qay darajada o'sha maktabda, ayni bir aniq bir maktabda misol uchun o'quvchini salohiyati qanaqa va uni baholash tizimini o'rnatgan holda biz umuman barcha kerak bo'lsa ta'lim tizimiga, ta'lim sifatiga baho berishga muyassar bo'lamiz. Shundan kelib chiqib, ilmiy asoslangan, ishonchli va xalqaro standartlarga mos keladigan baholash mexanizmi bugun biz uchun juda zarur hisoblanadi. Xabaringiz bor, mamlakatimiz o'z tarixida ilk bor bu yil PISA, PIRLS kabi xalqaro tadqiqotlarda ishtirok etdi. Endi buni yakunlari, natijalari keyingi yil ayon bo'ladi, keyingi yil chiqadi va albatta buni natijalarini biz juda ham intizorlik bilan kutyapmiz, lekin ochig'ini aytish kerak, biz o'sha natijalar qanaqa bo'lishini hozirdan bilib turibmiz. Biz chunki o'zimizning ham tahlillarimiz bor va tahlillarimizga asoslangan holda u natijalar qanaqa bo'lishini biz hozirdan kerak bo'lsa bir o'zimiz uchun bir tahlillarni qilib bilib turibmiz desak ham to'g'ri bo'ladi. Va undan tashqari mana biz keyingi yillarda TALIS hamda Teams kabi demak dasturlarda ham ishtirok etishimizni belgilab olganmiz. Albatta bu dasturlarda ham ishtirok etib, ya'ni baholash tizimini takomillashtirib boramiz. Xalqaro baholash dasturlarida ishtirok etish albatta biz uchun muhim, lekin milliy baholash tizimi asosida ta'lim sifatini ichki monitoringini olib borish ham biz uchun zarur hisoblanadi. Aytib o'tganimdek, biz o'sha tahlillarni qilib boramiz va o'zimizni o'sha mana bevosita nafaqat xalq ta'limi tizimida, balki boshqa tizimlarda ham bu baholash tizimlarini yo'lga qo'ygan holda biz o'zimizga kerak bo'lsa o'sha tanqidiy baho berishga ham demak qodir tashkilotlar sifatida biz platformaga chiqishimiz mumkin. Albatta biz ta'lim sifatini ham ichki va ham tashqi baholash yondoshini birdek qo'llab-quvvatlaymiz, lekin baribir nima deydi, birdek bo'lishi bilan birgalikda biz yana qaytaraman, ichki o'sha baholashga biz yana ham urg'u beryapmizki, biz faqatgina o'sha yil mobaynida yoki 2 yilda bir marotaba qaysidir xalqaro tashkilotni olib kelib baholash tizimini qo'yadigan bo'lsak, biz kutib qolamiz 1 yillab, 2 yillab va hokazo. Shuning uchun doimiy ravishda o'ylaymanki, barcha ta'lim tashkilotlari uchun doimiy ravishda o'zini baholab borish yoki boshqa bir demak mustaqil tashkilotlar tomonidan baholab borilishi ta'lim tizimlarimiz uchun juda muhim hisoblanadi. Ta'lim, lekin shu bilan birga shu o'rinda juda bir muhim masalaga to'xtalib o'tmoqchiman. Ta'lim sifatini baholash jarayonini tashkil etishda malakali kadrlar, ayniqsa testologlar muhim rol o'ynaydi. Afsuski, ochig'ini aytish kerak, bunday kadrlar soni biz kutgan darajadan ancha kam. Bugungi kunda testologlar O'zbekistonda bor, lekin kam ular va ularni albatta biz o'sha testologiya yo'nalishida malakali kadrlarni tayyorlash orqaligina baholash jarayonini davomli va o'sha barqaror, ya'ni sustainable qilishimiz mumkin. E'tiboringizni ruxsatingiz bilan yana bir boshqa bir muhim masalaga qaratmoqchiman. Maktabdagi ta'lim sifati, uning infratuzilmasi, undagi malaka kadrlarining mavjudligi va shu bilan birgalikda uni boshqarayotgan menejerga ham bog'liq. Ya'ni menejer bugungi kunda juda muhim rolni o'ynaydi. Ya'ni barcha maktab, mana men misol uchun aytishim kerak, bir 2 hafta oldin ba'zi bir boshqa davlatlarga safarda edim va o'sha boshqa davlatlarni ham kerak bo'lsa bir ta'lim tizimini ozgina bir o'rgandim desam to'g'ri bo'ladi. Shunda bir savol bilan murojaat qildim. Mana maktabda direktori bor, direktor o'sha maktabni kerak bo'lsa tizimini o'zi belgilab beryapti. O'zbekistonda bilasizlar, ayni bizda bir butun respublika bo'yicha, butun mamlakat bo'yicha bir tizimni faoliyatini yo'lga qo'yganmiz. Bu faoliyat bo'yicha barcha o'sha umumta'lim maktablar bir xillikda, demak, o'z faoliyatini olib boradi. Lekin mana o'sha ba'zi bir davlatlarni, demak, tizimini o'rganganimizda maktab direktorlari o'zi kerak bo'lsa o'zini maktabidagi tizimni kerak bo'lsa takomillashtirib borar ekan. Ya'ni qanaqa qilib? Mana misol uchun maktab direktori aytayapti menga, ya'ni Turkiya davlatini misol qiladigan bo'lsak, maktabiga pedagog degan diplomni olgandan keyin bitiruvchi, ya'ni talaba universitetni bitirib, pedagog degan diplomni olgandan keyin to'g'ridan to'g'ri maktabga ishga joylasha olmas ekan. U 1 yil davomida amaliyotdan o'tib, 1 yil davomida u, demak, o'zini bilim ko'nikmalarini kuchaytirib, 1 yildan keyin imtihon topshirib, sertifikat olib, keyin maktabga joylashar ekan. Ba'zi bir maktablardan so'rasam, maktab direktori o'zi aytayapti. Men dedi, agar o'qituvchi 10 yillik stajga ega bo'lmasa, men maktabga o'sha o'qituvchi pedagogni qabul qilmayman dedi. Chunki meni maktabimning reytingi baland, reyting baland bo'lganligi uchun 10 yillik stajga ega o'qituvchilarni faqat ishga olaman deyapti. Ya'ni bu nima degani? U o'zini maktabini, demak, ta'lim sifatiga kuchaytirish maqsadida eng o'sha 10 yillik stajga, ya'ni 10 yillik tajribaga ega o'qituvchini olishni o'ziga belgilab olgan. Men so'radimki, 10 yillik tajribani haligi o'qituvchi, pedagog qayerda oladi desam, u aytayapti, reytingi pastroq maktablarda tajribasini oshirib keladi, keyin men uni ishga olaman deyapti. Ya'ni ta'lim sifatini shu yo'l bilan ko'tarish. Ya'ni maktab direktori o'zi hal qilyapti, qay darajada u, demak, o'sha o'zining maktabini kerak bo'lsa ham sifatini ko'tarish, ham reytingini ko'tarish va hokazo. Shundan kelib chiqib, biz mana aynan shu tizimni O'zbekistonda tatbiq qilamiz demoqchi emasman, chunki bilasizlar, O'zbekistonda o'qituvchilarga bo'lgan munosabat, aytmoqchi emasman, yaxshiroq, lekin biz aynan inson qadri, ya'ni o'sha har bir fuqaromizni kerak bo'lsa, uni haq-huquqlaridan kelib chiqib, ya'ni o'sha universitetni bitirgan talaba pedagog degan diplomni olgandan keyin albatta ishga olinishi kerak degan bir siyosat bilan biz faoliyat olib boramiz. Lekin shu bilan birgalikda biz bugungi kunda maktabdagi ta'lim sifatini oshirishimiz uchun talabni kuchaytirishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Bunda eng muhim rolni o'ynaydigan, eng muhim rolni kerak bo'lsa namoyon qiladigan, bu yana qaytaraman, shu maktab menejerlari hisoblanadi. Bular esa o'sha bu yo'nalishda biz o'sha hozirda vazirlik tomonidan maktab direktorlarini tayyorlash, ularning malakasini oshirish hamda lavozimga tayinlash borasida bir qator tashabbuslarni biz ilgari surib, ular ustida ishlar olib bormoqdamiz. Bu yo'nalishda ham mana ko'p hamkorlarimiz bilan, ayniqsa mana UNICEF bilan ham demak bir o'sha kas standartini ishlab chiqish yo'li bilan, aynan direktorga nisbatan kas standartini ishlab chiqish yo'li bilan biz, demak, bu bo'yicha ham bir yaxshi loyihalarni amalga oshirishni yo'lga qo'yganmiz. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, hurmatli hamkorlarimiz, shu endi garchi noqulay bo'lsa-da, sizlar bilan do'stona va ochiq muloqot o'sha o'tkazishni biz to'g'ri deb bildik va o'ylaymanki, mendan keyingi o'sha chiqadiganlar ham aniq va demak ochiq bir muloqotni yo'lga qo'yish yo'li bilan biz bugungi ta'lim tizimimizga to'g'ri baho berishimizni men so'rab qolaman. Ya'ni muammoga biz to'g'ri bugun tashxis qo'yish bu ochiq siyosatimizdan boshlanadi. Shundan kelib chiqib, shu biz to'g'ri tashxis qo'ysak, biz to'g'ri yechimini va u kerak bo'lsa, u muammoni yechimini tezroq topib, tezroq bartaraf qilishga muyassar bo'lamiz. Biz shuning uchun ham o'sha agar muammoni biz anig'ini bilsak, o'sha muammoga aniq sarmoya yo'naltirish yo'li bilan haqiqiy bugungi kunda natijani va kerakli natijani biz olishga muyassar va muvaffaq bo'lamiz. Qadrli do'stlar, fursatdan foydalanib mana ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondiga mana global hamkorlik fondi, ya'ni GPE Global Partnership on Education o'sha mana vakillari ham bugun ishtirok etib kelmoqdalar va shu fondga vazirliklar, idoralar va xalqaro tashkilotlar o'rtasida samarali muloqot maydonini yaratishda yordam bergani uchun, shuningdek UNICEFga milliy ta'lim dasturi doirasidagi faoliyatimizni faol qo'llab-quvvatlagani uchun o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor qilmoqchiman. Mana shunday ochiq muloqot siyosati ta'lim sektorini hamkorlikda tahlil qilish va uning ustuvor yo'nalishlarini belgilash, shuningdek ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondi tomonidan qo'llab-quvvatlanayotgan hamkorlik bitimini birgalikda ishlab chiqish mamlakatimiz ta'lim sohasidagi milliy siyosatning ustuvor yo'nalishlarini qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun qo'shimcha resurslarni jalb qilishga yordam beradi. Shu o'rinda sizlarga hurmatli tashkilot vakillari, mamnuniyat bilan ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondining System Capacity Grant dasturiga ariza topshirmoqchi ekanligimizni e'lon qilmoqchiman. Umid qilamizki, ushbu grant dasturi yuqorida sanab o'tgan og'riqli savollarimizga uzoq muddatli yechim topishda yordam beradi. BMTning O'zbekiston Respublikasidagi Bolalar jamg'armasi, UNICEF, mahalliy ta'lim guruhining muvofiqlashtiruvchi va GPning grant agenti sifatida mazkur dasturlarni barcha hamkor tashkilotlar bilan birgalikda ishlab chiqishida va arizalarni topshirishda o'z ko'maklarini ayamasliklarini so'rab qolaman. Shuningdek, ta'lim sohasini qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun qo'shimcha mablag'larni jalb qilish maqsadida ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik fondining umumiy miqdori 40 million AQSh dollariga teng multiplier grant dasturiga ariza topshirmoqchiligimizni hamda o'rnatilgan tartibda GPning Fransiyadagi qarorgohiga rasmiy xat expression of interest kiritishga tayyor ekanligimizni bildirmoqchiman. Shu o'rinda qo'shimcha qilib aytadigan bo'lsak, Islom taraqqiyot bankining GP bilan yaqinda amalga oshirilgan Smart Education Financing tashabbusini yuqori baholaymiz va albatta buni biz O'zbekistonda yanada chuqurlashtirib hamkorlikka yo'naltirishga chaqirib qolamiz. Bundan tashqari Jahon banki, Osiyo taraqqiyot banki va boshqa bizning yaqin hamkorlarimizning ham takliflari mavjudligidan xabarimiz bor. Buning uchun biz katta minnatdorchiligimizni yana bir bor izhor qilamiz. O'ylaymanki, shu kabi dasturlar har qanday davlat ta'lim tizimiga yanada ko'proq resurslarni jalb qilishga imkoniyat yaratadi. GP Multiplier dasturiga ariza topshirish jarayonini boshlash uchun biz barcha xalqaro moliyaviy institutlardan 2022-yil 1-dekabrga qadar qo'shimcha moliyalashtirishga oid loyihalarni taqdim etishlarini yana bir bor so'rab qolamiz. So'ngra vazirlik hamkorlik shartnomasini tayyorlash bilan parallel ravishda loyiha hujjatini ishlab chiqishni albatta boshlaydi. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, katta ishonch bilan aytish joiz, bugungi uchrashuv mana shu zalda o'tirgan barcha ta'lim sohasi vakillari uchun foydali bo'ladi va biz birgalikda O'zbekiston ta'limini rivojlantirish uchun yanada ko'proq hissa qo'shamiz degan umiddaman. Xalq ta'limi vazirligi maktablardagi ta'limni rivojlantirish yo'lida shu yerda o'tirgan barcha xalqaro va mahalliy ta'lim tashkilotlari bilan hamkorlikda ishlayotganidan mamnun ekanligini hamda barcha xalqaro moliyaviy tashkilotlardan yuqorida sanab o'tilgan muammoli yo'nalishlar bo'yicha o'z takliflarini yuborishlarini kutib qolamiz. E'tiboringiz uchun katta rahmat.
Hurmatli Baxtiyor Odilovich, xalq ta'limi sohasidagi ustuvor yo'nalishlar bo'yicha bergan qimmatli va boy ma'lumotlaringiz uchun hamda o'zingizni qimmatli vaqtingizni ayamay bugungi mahalliy ta'lim guruhi davra suhbatini ochib berganingiz uchun sizga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz. Rahmat. Xonimlar va janoblar, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, bugungi tadbirimizning ochilish qismidagi galdagi so'z navbatini mahalliy ta'lim guruhining muvofiqlashtiruvchi agentligi O'zbekiston Respublikasidagi BMTning Bolalar jamg'armasi UNICEF rahbari hurmatli Munir Mamadzadega bersak. Marhamat.
Katta rahmat, уважаемый господин министр Саидов, уважаемый министр Шин, госпожа Нушади, дорогие коллеги. Я рад приветствовать вас всех и особенно видеть столько логотипов, как соорганизаторы этой встречи. Это на самом деле радует, потому что мы вот на первой встрече говорили о том, что мы должны выступать единым фронтом. Конечно же, мы все время ожидаем, что государство выступает единым фронтом, но партнеры по развитию должны делать то же самое. И в этом отношении я хотел бы поприветствовать, во-первых, все государственные органы сегодня, которые представлены, непосредственно отвечающие за систему образования, и, конечно же, наши ключевые партнеры. Я когда говорю наши, я имею в виду партнеры страны, не партнеры ЮНИСЕФ, а в целом. Мы, конечно же, очень рады тому, что прослеживается конкретная системная реформа в стране в сфере образования, и она охватывает весь спектр вопросов, начиная от дошкольного. Мы были свидетелями большого успеха на Всемирной конференции Министерства дошкольного образования, конференция, которая была организована совместно с ЮНЕСКО. Мы, конечно же, видим и знаем, что вопросы народного образования являются приоритетными на политической повестке дня. Очень часто руководитель страны и все соответствующие высокопоставленные лица говорят о необходимости инвестиций в это направление. Ну и, конечно же, мы знаем, что очень много осуществляется на уровне мониторинга, качества образования и вопросов высшего и профессионально-технического образования. И в этой связи я хотел бы, конечно же, поздравить всех, особенно учитывая то, что мы все больше и больше говорим о вопросах качества. Мы услышали, министр сегодня говорил о вопросах потенциала преподавательского состава, конечно же, вопросы школьной программы, вопросы цифрового обучения, и, конечно же, фокус на инклюзивность и качество – это как раз-таки те направления, которые я бы хотел бы наверняка отметить от имени партнера по развитию. Это как раз-таки аспекты, которые больше всего интересуют и где мы готовы нести свою лепту, будучи партнерами по развитию. Конечно же, мы знаем, что в системе народного образования достаточно серьезные ресурсы выделяются, 21% национального бюджета направлено на именно данное направление, это 5,4% ВВП. Это говорит о том, что показатель наш цели устойчивого развития 4, он достигнут по вопросам финансирования. И, конечно же, это еще раз демонстрирует сильную политическую волю в этом направлении и, конечно же, тот факт, что перед нами стоит задача, как совместными усилиями улучшить качество именно и результаты образования, о которых господин министр тоже говорил. Ну, во-первых, вот эта сильная политическая воля и открытая политика, господин Саидов несколько раз отметил, что пока мы не вели эту или не видели эту открытую политику, нам было сложно понять, как вас поддержать, где участвовать, да, и мы надеемся, что вот основываясь на доказательной базе, мы будем вести и продолжать эту открытую политику, мы будем видеть конкретно, в каких направлениях есть пробелы и какую поддержку мы общими усилиями можем оказать вам. И, конечно же, это мы ожидаем как бы фокус нашей деятельности, начиная с 2023. До сих пор, конечно же, тоже эта работа велась, но более интенсивно. С 2023 года планируется эту работу и дальше приоритизировать для того, чтобы инвестиции в секторе образования, они принесли стране вот те ключевые результаты, о котором мы слышали сегодня здесь. Мы на предыдущем мероприятии, на встрече, вот как раз-таки, значит, местной группы по образованию говорили о том, что разрабатываются несколько проектов и программ. Господин министр отметил те, которые связаны непосредственно с GPE, с Исламским банком развития, но и у USAID большие программы и планы, мы знаем, у Азиатского банка развития, у Всемирного банка и многих других. То есть большой интерес, я знаю, и у Джайки, и Койки. Я думаю, наверняка сектор образования, он самый такой разношерстный, я бы сказал. Большой интерес со стороны всех партнеров. И это, опять-таки, демонстрирует вот все логотипы, которые вы видите. И это очень отрадно. Но опять-таки для того, чтобы вот эти все инвестиции и вся наша поддержка, которую мы оказываем, как со стороны структур ООН, ну, в первую очередь, это, конечно же, ЮНЕСКО, ЮНИСЕФ, ну и вот со стороны партнера по развитию, очень важно, чтобы мы видели четкую политику и под нее подстраиваясь, помогали вам двигаться дальше. И в этом направлении внутри ООН тоже будут дополнительные возможности инвестировать. Есть фонды, которые называются Vision 2030, которые тоже, часть которых будет направлена на систему образования. Поэтому нам очень важно видеть общую картину, куда мы движемся, понимать то, какие ресурсы из госбюджета на что выделяются, какие, значит, у нас займы или кредиты берутся, и объединив все это в единую дорожную карту, понимать, какие на сегодня существуют пробелы и в каких направлениях мы можем дальше помогать вам. И, конечно же, вот в связи с тем, что ожидается дополнительное финансирование, я думаю, вот эта площадка координации под вашим руководством соответствующих министерств и ведомств очень важна, потому что мы, будучи ЮНИСЕФ, как координирующее агентство на данный момент, на последующие 2 года всегда рядом с вами, так же, как и все остальные партнеры по развитию GPE, но опять-таки лидерство за вами. И мы очень бы хотели бы, что вот вы объединяли, вот стали площадкой, платформой для объединения усилий, и мы, конечно же, будучи партнерами по развитию, всегда готовы оказать эту поддержку. И в этом отношении мы будем рассматривать те вызовы, которые поставлены перед нами, дорожную карту, о которой мы говорили. Был саммит трансформации образования, там тоже заявлены приоритеты со стороны Узбекистана. То есть нам нужно это все объединив, понимать, опять-таки, еще раз, куда мы движемся и иметь всеобъемлющий подход в секторе образования. И, конечно же, сегодняшнее мероприятие, оно с этой точки зрения очень важно. И я думаю, что последующим мы больше будем тоже фасилитировать на техническом уровне обсуждения, потому что после того, как заявлена повестка и политика, да, руководящих лиц, нам нужно уже дальше двигаться по практическим направлениям. В противном случае мы с вами будем регулярно совещаться и не видеть конкретных результатов. И с этой точки зрения я бы хотел бы отметить, что вот в рамках сегодняшнего нашего заседания одной из целей, помимо объявления вот multiplier гранта, как вы сказали, это объявить о создании тематических групп в секторе образования, потому что сектор большой, я не знаю, минимум, я так думаю, 4-5 структур на уровне министерств и ведомств. Есть еще другие подотчетные структуры, которые вовлечены. Поэтому нам, опять-таки, по всем этим направлениям, и учитывая, что у каждого партнера есть определенные, так скажем, политика или преференции, или специализация, Нам нужно, чтобы эти партнеры ввели какие-то компоненты, техническую роль свою, и потом это все объединить в одно целое. Спасибо всем за участие. Я думаю, что сегодня мы поставим основу для того, чтобы эта работа шла, так скажем, гладко, и чтобы мы в последующих встречах уже с вами говорили о первоначальных конкретных результатах. Спасибо за внимание.
Janob Amadzoda, UNICEF tashkilotiga Xalq ta'limi vazirligi, qolaversa A.Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot instituti nomidan xalq ta'limi sohasidagi islohotlarni yaqindan qo'llab-quvvatlayotganliklari uchun hamda mahalliy ta'lim guruhining muvofiqlashtiruvchi agentlik rolini yuqori darajada olib borayotganliklari uchun o'zimizning chuqur minnatdorchiligimizni bildirib qolamiz va shu o'rinda UNICEF va BMTning boshqa tashkilotlari bilan hamkorligimiz yuqori darajada davom etadi deb umid qilib qolamiz. Rahmat. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, tadbirimizning ochilish qismidan o'rin olgan navbatdagi so'z navbatini ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik GP fondining mamlakat bo'yicha rahbari, ta'lim bo'yicha katta mutaxassis Lina Bennett xonimga bersam. Miss Lina, the floor is yours.
Rahmat. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I am very pleased to come back to Uzbekistan, to which I feel special connection since I worked here before, and very nice to see a number of familiar faces. We are very much impressed to see the progress which Uzbekistan has made in the education sector over the recent years. And we would like to congratulate the government for all the immense efforts. There have been a number of important developments. As it has already been mentioned by the minister and UNICEF colleague Munir, it will be important going forward to build on national commitments from the Transforming Education Summit, on the preschool best practices from the recent global conference, and also public education vision and strategy. We hope that the current strengthening of the local education group will enable to support the education reform and policy dialogue and ensure coordination among development partners in an effective way. The GPE new operating model includes a review of factors which could enable the system transformation. The development of the partnership compact would help to identify education bottlenecks and key education reform priority. This could be done while ensuring aid effectiveness and coordination at the same time. Already in the past, the GPE helped to ensure the alignment among different partners through its process and allocation of grants. At the strategic level, Uzbekistan received GPE grants for conducting an education sector analysis, development of education sector plan 2019-2023, and joint sector review, and for strengthening sector coordination. This contributed to the education reform. Uzbekistan has also benefited from over $60 million in GPE grants for implementing projects to advance preschool and public education with the World Bank and UNICEF as grant agents. And this has happened since 2014. So GPE Secretariat looks forward to supporting the education in Uzbekistan further and working with you all as LEG members on the new GPE process. This meeting is a critical one to lay the ground for an effective way forward to unlock more financing to advance inclusive and quality education in Uzbekistan. I would like to thank the Ministry of Preschool Education, the Ministry of Public Education, UNICEF, UNESCO, Islamic Development Bank, the World Bank, and all other partners for the close collaboration. Rahmat.
Hurmatli Lina Bennett xonim, GPning O'zbekiston ta'lim sohasidagi islohotlarni qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun shu paytgacha qo'shgan hissasi va kelajakda rejalashtirilayotgan loyihalarni amalga oshirishdagi berayotgan ko'magingiz uchun sizga vazirligimiz hamda institutimiz nomidan o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, mahalliy ta'lim guruhi bu ta'lim sohasi vakillari, manfaatdor tomonlari va xalqaro tashkilot va donorlarning mamlakatimiz ta'lim sohasidagi faoliyatlarini muvofiqlashtiruvchi va bu yo'lda o'zaro muloqotni ta'minlovchi platforma hisoblanadi. Mahalliy ta'lim guruhini tashkil etishdan asosiy maqsad bu guruhning asosiy vazifalari va tarkibiy bo'linmalari haqida kengroq ma'lumot olish uchun so'z navbatini A.Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot instituti rektori hurmatli Rajiv Aybxon Baxtiyorxonovichga bersak. Marhamat.
Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, xalqaro va mahalliy hamkor tashkilotlar vakillari, hurmatli mahalliy ta'lim guruhi a'zolari. Barchangizni mahalliy ta'lim guruhining 2022-yilda ikkinchi bor yuzma-yuz tashkil etilayotgan davra suhbatida ko'rib turganimizdan bag'oyat xursandman. Vaqtingiz va ishtirokingizni qadrlagan holda shuni aytmoqchimizki, sizning bugungi uchrashuvga qatnashayotganingiz, hissangiz hukumatimiz va vazirligimizda ta'limning ustuvor rivojlanish yo'nalishlarini aniqlashga va bu sohalarga yanada ko'proq e'tibor va yanada ko'proq moliyaviy investitsiyalarni jalb etishga yordam beradi. Esingizda bo'lsa, hamkasblar joriy yilning aprel oyida bo'lib o'tgan so'nggi mahalliy ta'lim guruhi yig'ilishida xalq ta'limi sohasidagi islohotlarning amalga oshirilgan yoki oshirilayotgan loyihalarning sarhisobi haqida umumiy fikr almashgan edik va biz hozirda qayerdamiz degan savolga javob berishga uringan edik. O'sha uchrashuvning mantiqiy davomi sifatida bugungi tadbirimiz ham ta'lim tizimini keyingi yillarda rivojlantirishning yo'l xaritasini xalqaro va mahalliy hamkor tashkilotlar yordamida ishlab chiqish hamda uni amalga oshirishda xalqaro moliyaviy institutlarning grant mablag'larini ta'lim tizimiga maqsadli jalb etishga qaratiladi. Hurmatli hamkasblar, mahalliy ta'lim guruhi, ta'lim sohasi vakillari, ta'lim sohasi manfaatdor tomonlari, xalqaro tashkilotlar va donorlarning mamlakatimiz ta'lim sohasidagi faoliyatlarini muvofiqlashtiruvchi va bu yo'lda o'zaro muloqotni ta'minlovchi platforma hisoblanadi. Qarshi bo'lmasangiz, men nutqimni ingliz tilida davom ettirsam. Today I would like to in my presentation I would like to briefly disseminate the information about the terms of reference of local education group, like Uzbekistan, because this is a very important strategic document for us in order to be able to continue our fruitful collaboration within the scope of GP, like Uzbekistan. So if you allow me, I'll just continue my presentation and share the brief information about the terms of reference that we have jointly developed together with UNICEF experts. And for your kind information, I strongly believe that we have already relayed this document through via email to every single international members of our partners. And here I would like just highlight very key points of this document. So local education group in general represents the platform for the dialogue and coordination of the education sector activities among development partners and other education stakeholders. And we would like to mainly maintain unanimity of our efforts and endeavors towards in order to achieve our shared vision in the education sector of Uzbekistan. So in here, LEC is going to be committed to pursue international agreed aid effectiveness and aid harmonization principles, including three main key areas: a focus on results, partnerships for development, and transparency and shared responsibility. There are four key objectives of LEC that we have included in the document. The first one is to advance the Leave No One Behind agenda, and enhancing continued access to quality, safe, and inclusive education, which are the main pillars of the SDG 4. Secondly, we'd like to contribute within this document. We have highlighted the contribution to the successful implementation of national education reform agendas that was actually aforementioned by His Excellency the Minister of Public Education through development of strategies and programs. At the same time, we'd like to serve as the main platform to maintain effective policy, dialogue, and coordinate the work of development partners, the government of Uzbekistan, and other stakeholders on all issues related to education. And lastly, the final key objective of terms of reference is going to be the contributing to joint sector reviews and monitoring of the implementation of sector policies and reform activities in education. So one of the core functions of our LEC meeting, which was included in the terms of reference, is going to be the harmonization and alignment of reform activities. And here we'd like to align the activities of all LEC members and their respective financial contributions towards the shared vision and objectives, which was settled by the government through the Ministry of Public Education. And we'd like to undertake joint reviews and assessments studies to inform education sector policies. And secondly, we'd like to support policy development, implementation, and monitoring. Here, we'd like to highlight the importance of monitoring again by facilitating or providing inputs for the development, exchange knowledge about sector strategy, engaging in the organization of government-level annual joint sector reviews, and generating, sharing, and discussing evidences. We'd like to serve as a platform to discuss the costs and financing of the policy priorities. We'd like to address education financing resources in here. Through the TOR of LEC group, we'd like to help identify new sources and or modalities of financing education sector reforms. And lastly, we'd like to foster state leadership and mutual accountability by utilizing education sector planning operational tools, ensuring transparency again, and timeless, advancing strategic dialogue, providing technical, financial, and direct and indirect support for planning and monitoring efforts. As you can see, and it was again aforementioned, here it's a great honor for us to see lots of logos of our international partners and local partners as well. So these are the LEC members. The LEC members are consisted of mainly local government bodies, education ministries and organizations, and development partners, bilateral and multilateral agencies, partner UN organizations, civil society organizations, associations, and finally, government entities, academia, and other education stakeholders who have a developed footprint and presence in the education sector. Therefore, the LEC shall remain open to new members. So these are the members that we have currently, that we possess at the moment, but it's not limited to this. We are always open to new members. The contact list of the LEC will be updated annually, therefore by the coordinating agency. So the Ministry of Public Education of the Republic of Uzbekistan is the chair of the local education group. UNICEF acts as the coordinating agency with the responsibility of co-chairing the LEC meetings. The coordinating role is expected to rotate among development partners and is reviewed on a biannual basis. And finally, the A.Avloniy National Research Institute under the Ministry of Public Education is the focal point for the GPE-related activities from the Ministry of Public Education of the Republic of Uzbekistan. As was mentioned earlier during Mr. Munir's speech, that here in this platform, we'd like to announce LEC subgroups, because in order to foster our future steps, we'd like to divide our endeavors into subgroups. And the first subgroup is going to be called, we'd like to announce the draft name of our first subgroup, which is the preschool education, where this subgroup advocates for the rights and reform in the area of preschool system of Uzbekistan. The second subgroup is secondary education. The subgroup advocates for the rights and reform in the secondary school system. And higher education, similarly. The fourth subgroup is going to include all issues related to inclusive education in all levels of education of Uzbekistan. The fifth subgroup is going to dedicate all endeavors towards STEM and skills, where the group advocates for the rights and reform in the teaching STEM and development skills among students and their teachers. And lastly, the sixth subgroup of our LEC is going to be infrastructure, which is one of the most important and strategically vital area for our collaboration, where we'd like to advocate anything related to school renovation and building and creating further new additional school sites. This is the end of my today's presentation. That was the brief information, I believe. Again, I would like to re-mention about the TOR document, which was relayed already via emails to all our beloved partners. And we would like to hear later on your additional comments related to the document. Thank you for your attention.
Hurmatli Aybxon Baxtiyorxonovich, mahalliy ta'lim guruhining tashkil etishdan asosiy maqsad, uning vazifalari hamda guruhga a'zolik haqida bergan qimmatli ma'lumotlaringiz uchun sizga ham o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz. Va hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, men quyidagilarni qaytarib o'tmoqchi edim. Xalq ta'limi vazirligi mahalliy ta'lim guruhining raisi hisoblanadi hamda BMTning O'zbekiston Respublikasidagi bolalar jamg'armasi UNICEF esa mahalliy ta'lim guruhining muvofiqlashtiruvchi agentligi hisoblanadi. A.Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot instituti esa Xalq ta'limi vazirligining GPI bilan bog'liq faoliyatiga mas'ul tashkilot hisoblanadi. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, mana hozir guvohi bo'ldingiz. Aybxon Baxtiyorxonovich o'zlarining prezentatsiyalarini yakunida mahalliy ta'lim guruhining tarkibiy qismlari haqida taklif etilayotgan 6 ta tashkiliy qismlari haqida ma'lumot berib o'tishdi. Agar ushbu tadbirda qatnashayotgan ishtirokchilarda ushbu masala yuzasidan savollar yoki o'zlarining fikrlari bo'ladigan bo'lsa, marhamat berishinglar mumkin.
Ruxsat bersanglar. Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, Baxtiyor Odilov, Chagirpin Vasilina, Munir Mamidzade. Men ruxsatinglar bilan berilgan taklifni oxirgi komponentiga uni biroz aniqlashtirishga taklifim bor. Chunki infrastruktura masalasi endi keng hisoblanadi, lekin hozirgi kunda birinchi galda Xalq ta'limi vazirligi oldida umuman menimcha barcha jamiyatimizda bo'layotgan yangilik yoki umumiy jarayonlarni inobatga olib, infrastruktura jarayonlarida alohida bir yo'nalish sifatida yashil infrastrukturani rivojlantirish masalasini ham kiritishni taklif qilmoqchi edik. Sababi hozir mana tadbirdan oldin ham maslahat qilganimizda hamkorlar bilan xabaringlar bor. Mana hozir davlat idoralari umuman ta'lim muassasalariga quyosh panellarini o'rnatish masalasi keng tajriba bo'lmoqda. Bu jarayonga ham xalqaro tashkilotlarni jalb qiladigan bo'lsak, u jarayonni yanada tezroq va energiya resurslarini tejashga yana imkoniyatimiz keng bo'ladi. Ya'ni yashil infrastruktura nuqtai nazaridan. Va yana bitta muhim masala, bugungi kunda biz ayrim xalqaro hamkorlar bilan bu jarayonda ham ish olib bormoqdamiz, xususan UNICEF bilan. Lekin bunga boshqa tashkilotlarni ham jalb qilsak, bu suvni tejash, sanitariya va sifatli va iste'mol qilishga imkoniyat beradigan suv masalasi. Bu bo'yicha bir alohida bir loyihalar amalga oshirilmoqda, lekin bu jarayonga ham aynan infrastruktura nuqtai nazaridan aniqlik kiritsak, balki yaxshiroq bir imkoniyatlarni ko'rsak bo'ladi. Shuni qo'shishga taklif bermoqchi edim. Rahmat.
Rahmat, Usmonov Fatovich. Qolgan tashkilotlardan ham o'zlarining fikrlarini berishlarini iltimos qilib qolardik. Agar o'zingizlarda qanaqadir taklif yoki ko'rsatilgan demak bo'limlar yuzasidan savollar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, marhamat ularni bering, bo'lmasam marhamat.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. About the subgroups, I would like to suggest have technical vocational training TVET as a separate subgroup. Now it's with STEMs and skills. I think it deserves a separate subgroup. And also, I think inclusive education should be cross-cutting rather than one subgroup. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nishadi. Thank you so much for your opinion. Agar yana qanaqadir takliflar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, marhamat, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, o'z fikringizni berishingiz mumkin. Va qolaversa, albatta bugungi tadbirimiz yakunida ham albatta savol-javob qismi bo'ladi. Agar o'zingizning taklifingizni o'sha vaqtda ham albatta berishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, endigi galdagi so'z navbatini ta'lim bo'yicha katta mutaxassis, ta'lim bo'yicha global hamkorlik tashkilotining mamlakat guruhi rahbari Lina Bennett xonimga yana bersak. Marhamat xonim.
Yes, if you can upload the slide. Thank you. So we could start from the first slide. So driving the education system transformation is at the heart how GPE works. GPE 2025 will help partner countries to achieve change by leveraging global and national relationships in support of their priority reforms and activities. So GPE 25 is a strategic plan for the partnership covering 5 years, 2021 to 2025. And the plan is aligned with SDG 4. Its main goal is to accelerate access, learning outcomes, and gender equality through equitable, inclusive, and resilient education systems fit for the 21st century. It outlines 3 objectives that the partnership will pursue over the 5-year period. So strengthen gender-responsive planning, policy, and development, mobilize coordinated action and financing to enable transformative change, and strengthen capacity, adapt, and learn to implement and drive results at scale. This is the 3rd objective. So the new operating model of GPE has 3 steps to support system transformation. The first one is assess, prioritize, and diagnose. So basically it starts when the local education group and the Ministry of Preschool, Ministry of Public Education convene and create a smaller working group. Then analysis of needs and existing evidence is conducted. Then a priority reform is selected. There is a review of enabling factors for system transformation done, and assessment of independent technical advisory panel. And the partnership compact could be developed in parallel. This is according to the new GPE revision of the guidelines. The second step is related to alignment. So partnership compact is finalized to align partners and resources behind the key reform. There is acting on evidence, and the early of indication of grants is provided. The step 3 is act, learn, and adapt. The country and its partners implement the agreed programs and reforms with gender hardwired through the process. There is improved access to data and tracking agreed results. And this actually increases accountability and allows evidence-based course correction during implementation. So GPE 2025 framework goal has a number of priority areas, which include access, learning, gender equality, inclusion, early learning, quality teaching, domestic financing, looking into volume, equity, efficiency, and strong organizational capacity. For compact development, it is important to keep these areas in mind. And these areas are relevant, if not to all GPE partner countries, to most GPE partner countries. However, what's appropriate to prioritize in a given context must be based on contextual analysis and evidence. Multiplier-only countries such as Uzbekistan are not required to adopt a single priority. So for the first step, assess, prioritize, and diagnose analysis, there is an enabling factors review, as I mentioned. And 4 areas for stronger system I analyzed. The first one is data and evidence. For example, it is important to look into the education management system, look into annual education statistics reports. Another area is sector coordination. So inclusive sector dialogue and coordinated action and coordinated financing and funding need to be analyzed. The third area is the gender responsive sector planning, policy and monitoring. For example, strategic planning frameworks and practices need to be reviewed, looking into zero draft of education sector plan or government priority program framework. The last area is volume, equity, and efficiency of domestic public expenditure on education. Commitments analyzed if they are at least 20% of national budget for education, 45% of which should be for primary education. So this was the breakdown of enabling factors, looking into some of the elements of sector analysis in each. So as I mentioned earlier, there is a submission of package of enabling factors to independent technical advisory panel. And this group is external technical experts with a mandate to provide an independent assessment of country status vis-a-vis the GPE 2025 operating model requirements. And they'll try to analyze if there is a system transformation approach. There are a number of items that have to be a part of submission package. And as next steps, the assessment is shared with the local education group and government, and it's endorsed by the local education group usually. However, the guidelines now for multiplier-only countries are being revised, so this step might be more accelerated and revised. We will have new guidelines in January. So this slide provides an overview of the partnership compact development. As you can see, enabling factors review compact development can happen in parallel. And we will see this in the new guidelines. Compact development can start with identification of the priority reform and the contextualized enabling factors analysis. Process is led by the local education group and Ministry of Education, drafted by compact development team, informed by the sector plan and existing policy framework and available diagnostics. And gender lens are systematically applied all across. The compact is then reviewed and endorsed by the local education group and submitted to the GPE Secretariat for the review before submitting to the board. And following the board's decision on the scope and focus of GPE grant funding, there is a selection of the grant agent and development of a grant program. And the system capacity grant can be basically applied to throughout the process. So this is the graph that shows the entire process, all the stages that I have just covered. As you can see, gender is hardwired throughout the process. And there are grants for support available, such as system capacity grant, multiplier, and also modalities such as knowledge and innovation exchange, education out loud, and strategic capability. So Uzbekistan is eligible for 3.1 million of system capacity grant, and this is available throughout the policy cycle, driven to strengthen the system transformation enabling factors. Multiplier grant is available for 40 million. And knowledge and innovation exchange and education out loud is available in line with the funding cycles of these modalities. And also it has recently been confirmed that Uzbekistan is eligible for the strategic capability on monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Basically, this means that there is international expertise available as soon as possible to support this. So I will go more in detail on eligible activities and the system capacity grant. So the first area is gender responsive planning and policy for system-wide impact. Some activities relevant for Uzbekistan, system diagnostics, compact development, and education sector analysis, including gender analysis. I won't go into detail into more. These slides will be available to all the partners, so you can see what the eligibility is. So the second area is coordinated action and financing to enable transformative change. The relevant activities, especially strengthening sector coordination, including local education groups, joint sector reviews, and monitoring the effectiveness of the country-level partnership. The third area is capacity, adapt and learn to implement and drive results at scale. So it's possible to implement activities for strengthening data systems, including on improving the availability and use of sex disaggregated data and data on children with disabilities. And also, for example, training and support for government staff and central and decentralized levels could also benefit from this system capacity grant. So how is it possible to access and utilize system capacity grant allocation? The applications for the system capacity grant are primarily driven by the need to strengthen enabling factors as assessed by the government and partners in the partnership compact. However, countries can also use the resources to develop the compact immediately. Uzbekistan can submit several applications for this grant, and there could be several grant agents. The comparative advantage of each agency should be reviewed for a specific activity area. There is no limit for the allocation for specific activities, and the selection for the grant agent should be transparent and also kept simple, so there are low transaction costs. The selection is decided by the government and endorsed by the local education group. And as I mentioned earlier, the capacity of the organization would be important to evaluate for implementation purposes. So modalities usually are defined, the scope of work and technical support needs, and the government in consultation with the coordinating agency and local education group sets out criteria to select the grant agent. And the local education group members are asked to apply for the grant agent role. So the selected grant agent should have financial procedures with the GPE trustee, the World Bank. I mean, this is one important point to note. Finally, it is important to document the grant agent selection and include in the grant application. So the details have to be provided justifying the process. So how does a multiplier grant work? It helps to leverage new and additional external financing for the education sector. So to unlock the multiplier, partners mobilize usually at least $3 in new and additional co-financing for each $1 from the GPE fund. This is in the case when the funds come from international organizations, multilateral banks, and other partners. Smart ED is a new initiative which unlocks $1 from GPE when 4 are provided, and this helps to unlock the multiplier allocation in even more effective way because more funds are provided. So this is the initiative with the Islamic Development Bank that has already been piloted in Tajikistan and is being considered for other countries. There is a new incentive under the new operating models for business and private sector to co-finance at 1-to-1 ratio. And this is also piloted in one of the GPE partner countries. Partners can either invest in standalone projects, have parallel financing, or alongside GPE grants in the same program, co-financing. The target priorities are identified in the partnership compact. As I mentioned earlier, there is enabling factors review, and there is one reform priority usually identified. So throughout the process, there is a big focus on harmonization and alignment. All the partners come together and they manage to align their different programs against one another. So some key features of the multiplier to consider are additionality. So there needs to be a good proof that multiplier funds are additional. There is a variable part in the multiplier focused on results-based financing, usually minimum 30% is required if the total grant amount is more than 15 million. So in Uzbekistan's case, it's 40 million, so it's definitely required. And then there needs to be a detailed expression of interest necessary to secure the allocation. There is a template available as a part of it. Usually a reform needs to be indicated and the grant agents included. Now the funds available up to upper secondary education. I mean, this was one of the new developments in the operating model. So another modality that I mentioned earlier, and we will go more into detail, is the knowledge and innovation exchange. So this modality connects expertise, innovation, and knowledge to countries which are building strong education systems. It is shaped by the national governments and driven by the countries to address the different policy challenges. So the KICS regional activities can focus on a number of different thematic areas, teaching and learning, gender equality, equity and inclusion, data systems, learning assessment systems, and early childhood care and education. So in 2019, Uzbekistan benefited from the grant for scaling up teachers' professional development. This was together with Ghana and Honduras, and UNESCO became the grant agent and worked closely with the A.Avloniy Institute on this. So the new development also under the new GPE operating model is to align all these modalities together in order to ensure the sustainability and focus more on harmonization, so there is impact in system transformation. So it will be important also to see how KICS aligns with all the new modalities and grants. There is a regional KICS hub for Europe, Asia, and Pacific. It's NORAG, and usually they are the one that support also countries in different activities. For example, with the enabling factors review and compact development, some countries are even receiving from them technical expertise. Education Out Loud is another initiative. It's basically GPE's fund to support civic participation in education. It is the largest advocacy fund for civil society. It's managed by Oxfam, and up to now there have been $78 million from GPE allocated. The activities focus on 5 areas: policy dialogue, public engagement, data and transparency, analysis, and strengthening civic capacity. And Uzbekistan could be also eligible for this modality, grants from Education Out Loud. And the last one is strategic capabilities. What is strategic capability? It's secretariat managed partnerships that complement GPE assets in response to demand-driven and evidence-based country needs. And GPE capabilities comprise not only the GPE fund and secretariat resources, but also the vast expertise, financial and human resources of all partners. So it's possible to access technical support from partners for different areas of the education reform in the country. So strategic capability provides expertise to reinforce national government capacity. It tackles complex education and cross-sectoral system problems faced by multiple GPE partner countries. It could also only be the challenges faced by one country. So at the moment, the strategic capability available for Uzbekistan, which is one of the very few countries being able to benefit from this initiative, is monitoring, learning, and evaluation. So it could be available for strengthening monitoring and evaluation learning systems, and MEL for policies and programs could be prioritized. So from earlier discussions, we understand that connecting and establishing synergies among EMIS systems maybe could be a priority. Also for assessments, maybe support is needed. Of course, this MEL strategic capability would have also to align with the objectives and support of the system capacity grant, because data is also one of the areas in the system capacity grant. There are, just for your information, there are a few other areas being considered for strategic capabilities: climate smart education systems, education data leadership program. There might be something related to gender-based violence. It's all based on demand from the country, so there could be some other areas developed as well. And as this initiative develops further, there might be some further revisions. It's not clear also from our side how it will go forward, but at the moment we know that monitoring, learning, and evaluation is available for Uzbekistan, and it can be applied to any time to benefit from the technical expertise. So for the next steps, it is important to assign the focal point for enabling factors review and compact development. Then another step will be to review enabling factors and compact development. As I mentioned, it could be done in parallel. Then UNICEF would ask LEG members to express interest in system capacity grant based on the compact's priority. Also, the expression of interest for system capacity grant would have to be prepared following the GPE template. So in parallel, there could be the potential co-financers coming forward, and the grant agents could be selected for the multiplier program development. Then a big activity will be to develop expression of interest for multiplier and then the program. And also in parallel, the government could apply for the monitoring, evaluation, and learning strategic capability. So in a nutshell, these are the next steps, but there are many more details behind. So we are available to provide support throughout the process. And also we plan to prepare the detailed timeline with UNICEF and the ministry and other partners. So this will help for all of us to be focused and stick to the timelines. But what we plan to do is quite a prompt process, and hopefully this will also be a good lesson to other countries. So we look forward to working with you very closely on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hurmatli Lina Bennett xonim, O'zbekiston ta'lim sohasidagi islohotlarni yaqindan qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun GPE tashkiloti tomonidan ajratilishi mumkin bo'lgan grant dasturlari, System Capacity Grant, Multiplier grant dasturlariga qanday qilib ariza topshirish yuzasidan qilgan ajoyib taqdimotingiz uchun sizga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz va yuqorida qayd etilganidek, Xalq ta'limi vazirligi qayd etilgan ikkala dasturga ham mahalliy ta'lim guruhining muvofiqlashtiruvchi agentligi UNICEF bilan hamkorlikda va barcha hamkor tashkilotlar bilan kelishgan holda ariza topshirishga tayyor ekanligini yana bir bor eslatib o'tmoqchiman. Xonimlar va janoblar, mahalliy ta'lim guruhi a'zolarida ushbu grant ariza dasturlariga topshirish paytida hisobga olishimiz kerak bo'lgan fikr va takliflar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, marhamat, ularni hozir bizga aytib o'tishingiz mumkin. Yoki ularni yozma tarzda UNICEF tashkilotiga yoki Abdulla Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot institutiga email orqali 1-dekabrga qadar jo'natishingizni iltimos qilib qolamiz. Agar takliflar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, marhamat, ularni hozir berishingiz mumkin yoki aytib o'tilganidek yozma tarzda ularni bizga yuborishingiz mumkin. Agar hech qanday takliflar bo'lmasa, so'z navbatini galdagi tadbir ishtirokchisiga bersam. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, ta'lim sohasidagi islohotlarni qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun nafaqat GP tashkiloti, balki boshqa xalqaro moliyaviy institutlar tomonidan ham bir qator tashabbuslar mavjud. Misol uchun, Islom taraqqiyot bankining aqlli ta'limni moliyalashtirish tashabbusini olishimiz mumkin. Mazkur tashabbus haqida ko'proq ma'lumot olish uchun galdagi so'z navbatini Islom taraqqiyot bankining operatsiyalar guruhi rahbari Almata mintaqaviy markazidan janob Muhammad Mirzayevga bersak. Marhamat janob.
Yes, thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, my presentation is about the SmartEd initiative. Yes, this is a joint initiative, actually, between GP, IDB, and the Arab Coordination Group members. This is an ACG initiative to leverage GP multiplier grants to scale up investment in education for 37 eligible common member countries. It is an innovative result-based integrated programming for transforming member countries' education systems to ensure inclusive and improved learning outcomes for all to achieve the SDG 4 targets promptly. The initiative will mobilize $500 million, including $100 million GP multiplier grant and $400 million from Arab Coordination Group and IDB co-financing concessionary resources. I would like to highlight that the resources will be provided by the Arab Coordination Group members and ISDB. It will be concessional resources. This initiative was launched at the Rewire Education Summit in December 2021 and will be implemented over a 5-year period. The context of the SmartEd is actually aiming to develop human capital, which is a crucial element for sustainable development and socioeconomic growth and stability, efficient and resilient education system critical to human development and SDGs. Many member countries not likely to achieve SDG 4. Millions of children are out of school and or in school but not learning enough. The GP is a global fund dedicated to education system strengthening, while the Arab Coordination Group members or institutions are leading education financing from the global north. The two complement these two actually Arab Coordination Group members and GP complement each other through Smart Education initiative. IDB and Arab Coordination Group committed to support member countries to achieve SDG 4 promptly. Smart Education initiative will mobilize and leverage resources, technical capacity and experience to evolve effective and resilient education systems. Rationale for smart education is to actually the education is central to human development and economic growth and stability. Eligible member countries' commitment to attaining SDG 4 as a priority is undermined by low domestic resources and technical capacity. ODA and other external financing and investments in education is traditionally low compared to other sectors. COVID-19 exacerbates this financial challenge and need to scale up investment in education and programming support to achieve SDG 4 and tackle the learning crisis. The collaboration at scale and value addition of the SmartEd is to larger scale grant capital. This will be grant provided by GP and the amounts provided by the Arab Coordination Groups and Islamic Development Bank. It also have grant elements. Large potential project pipeline, then larger scale lending, lower borrowing cost for project, and increased resource fund mobilization. Programmatic principles and approach of the Smart Ed is to really to become a kind of a transformational and systematic approach, sector-wide approach based on strategic planning, and then result-oriented for effectiveness and good performance, context-relevant and innovative strategies with emphasis on inclusion, equity, and quality. And the target is actually basic education starting from year 1 to year 12, plus primary aligned with the SDG 4 targets and indicators. It is a country-focused initiative, alignment with government policy priorities and plans, complementary to government resources and efforts, innovative strengthening of existing systems, structures, and strategies. It will be in partnership and coordination with other development partners, inclusive and participatory processes, and engagement with the stakeholders and working through local education group. This is the project cycle under the Smart Education. It will be starting with project identification, partners clearinghouse engagement, and country engagement or re-engagement, project preparation, appraisal, and negotiation, and then project approval by GP Secretariat and ISDB board and the other development partners, and then project implementation and completion. Project identification of partners clearinghouse is all GP IDB common member countries are eligible to access a multiplier grant under the 2021-2025 strategic plan. IDB supports interested countries, prepares project profiles outlining focus activities for intervention. Project profiles are presented to Arab Coordination Group Directors meeting for expression of interest and pledges to co-finance on a project-by-project basis. So we have so far received official requests from Ministry of Investment of the Republic of Uzbekistan. And now we have included the Republic of Uzbekistan as beneficiary, one of the beneficiaries of a Smart Ed initiative. IDB collates pledges and ensures it meets the required amount for $1 grant resources from GPE, as it was mentioned by esteemed representative of GP Secretariat. We are going to mobilize $4. So this will be actually concessional resources, and for $40 million to be provided by the GP Secretariat, we have already initiated negotiations with Arab Coordination Group members to mobilize $160 million. So this will be a $200 million financing for the supporting the education system in the country. Country engagement, IDB communicates potential financing package, GP grant and potential AGC financing to the country. Country sends official request letter to Arab Coordination Group financing partners. As I mentioned, we have already received the official letter from Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade. IDB supports country to secure grant agent components using 2022 form of expression of interest GP multiplier with local education group endorsement. So we will be actually engaged in support the member country to prepare the actually expression of interest for multiple GP multiplier fund. And then project development and approval, IDB as grant agent leads project design, preparation, and appraisal. As per the modalities of the Smart Ed initiative, IDB will be the grant agent for all projects to be funded under this initiative. IDB coordinates with participating Arab Coordination Group members in project processes, capturing specific requirements for Arab Coordination requirements of Arab Coordination members. Relevant national education stakeholders, project partners, including GP and Arab Coordination Group members, are involved in all project processes on the platform of local education group. Project documents subjected to quality review assessment, feedback, and endorsement, and approval by IDB, Arab Coordination Group partners, local education group, and GP as appropriate based on set criteria and agreed timelines. Thank you very much. I would like also to highlight that for managing the GP grants, we don't charge any handling fee from IDB side, so we do it actually free of charge. So this is another advantage of this initiative that we have established with the GP secretary. Thank you very much. If there is any questions, we're available to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hurmatli janob Muhammad Mirzayev Kahay, Islom taraqqiyot banki tomonidan ilgari surilayotgan Smart Education Financing tashabbusi haqidagi taqdimotingiz va Islom taraqqiyot bankining O'zbekistonga qilingan missiyasi davomida ushbu mahalliy ta'lim guruhining davra suhbatiga tashrif buyurganingiz uchun tashkilotchilar nomidan o'z minnatdorchiligimizni bildirib qolamiz. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, ta'lim islohotlarining kelajakdagi ustuvor yo'nalishlarini ifodalovchi yo'l xaritani ishlab chiqish bugungi tadbirimiz kun tartibidan joy olgan eng asosiy masala desam mubolag'a bo'lmaydi. Bu sohada mahalliy ta'lim guruhi rahbari Xalq ta'limi vazirligi nomidan ustuvor yo'nalishlar bo'yicha keng ma'lumot olish uchun galdagi so'z navbatini Xalq ta'limi vazirligining ta'lim sifati jarayonlarini muvofiqlashtirish departamenti direktori hurmatli Xo'jaqulov Laziz Joriyevichga bersak. Marhamat.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to see you all around this table to discuss the issues and problems common to the education. And I would like to talk about the national compact that's already been mentioned before, as we know that the one unified document that can identify all our strengths and where we have to go is very important. The importance of this document is growing in parallel with the increasing network of our partners. Before I proceed with my presentation, I would like to tell you just one of the examples why it is important to unite and why it's the synergetic approach is very, very crucial. Just in the field of the teacher training and capacity building for the English language teachers, English language as second language teachers, we have the 3 different projects with 3 different partners. Though each of these partners, they strive to do their best, we can see that the approaches are different. While if the funding and then the approach could be unified, and if we could do it in one single way, we could have achieved much more higher results than we are achieving now. And this is just one of the examples. And we have several examples that actually shows that unless we develop a national compact, which can show us where we are heading, what we have to do, and how we are going to do that, most of the efforts will unfortunately be wasted useless. So let me proceed to the presentation. First of all, why we need a national compact? As I already said, we need a better coordination between our partners, and then the alignment. This is the critical ingredient to operationalize the national vision of education reforms. And I should also here stress that it's not applicable to the Ministry of Public Education only. We are actually working together with the 3 ministries to develop the holistic approach to the quality of education. And as such, we call on our international partners to also to combine forces to work together with all the partners, all the government partners, to develop this national compact. And the other reason is that we have to facilitate partnership and increase development partners financing to education. We as a government agencies, if we can show that we have the holistic approach to education and the improving the education, then we have much more, say, the bargaining and much more negotiating power to attract more financing that we are doing if we were alone. And then the third thing is why we need the national compact is we have to focus on transformative interventions, what we are going to transform and how we are going to transform it. Of course, we know our status quo, but we also know that our status quo is unsatisfactory. From that point of view, we have to know that the transformation is important and we need to get the best of the technical expertise from our international partners. And of course, the national compact is also important, as Ms. Lena Benet has just informed that we have to be able to attract funding, we have to respond to the GPA requirements and recommendations within the framework of the new GPA operating model. So while developing the joint vision of education transformation, we decided that it could be divided into 4 logical parts. Basically, this is applicable to most of the systems which are under transformation, including education. First of all, we have to diagnose the enabling factors. What are the drivers that will make us change? What are the success points that will make us change? And then, of course, we will see that there are many points that we have to work upon. But with the international partners, we have to prioritize the reform areas. We have to know where to focus upon instead of trying to cover all. Of course, because we know that covering all basically means like spreading all our power in a small portions and not achieving success in none of them. And then we have to we need the alignment of the key stakeholders and then alignment of the financing. That's what we already discussed before. We need the synergy among the new platform partners. We have to know that how to attract funds, where to invest those funds, and who is going to contribute to what. This is very important, especially at this stage, because when we are undergoing some changes, there are many, there could be, temptations to use the funds to get some quick wins. But these quick wins might eventually end up as big failures. And then, of course, the logical end, but this is not end as in like from the time point of view, but this is end of the process, which will come on again and again as a PDCA cycle. We will see the result framework and financing. We have to see what has worked. We have to see what was the result of our joint efforts, and then learning from our joint efforts, we can move forward to improve our system again and again. So to go on as a practical step, we are proposing the timeline for the development of the National Compact document. So what we are proposing is November and December, we propose to establish the working group with the appointment of the focal points for each from the relevant institutions and each development partners. So we can work together and then to the driver forces jointly. And the appointment of the technical expertise from UNICEF and GPE to guide and facilitate the compact development. That's where we need the UNICEF and GPE support. And the January and February 2023, we propose to activate the leg subgroups. It's already been discussed that where we were proposing about around 5 subgroups, and then there were some proposals to slightly to amend it, and which we'll probably be considered as well. And then in any case, we propose that we have to activate the leg subgroups to discuss the reform priorities. And then this reform priority should be aligned with our development partners as well. And then we have to jointly develop the national compact. And then this national compact will be in March 2023 will be submitted to GPE, and then the GPE with its own processing of the quality assurance and finalizing the draft of the document. And then there's going to be joint endorsement of the document, which will be the final stage where the document development will end. And we hope that this document will be the successful one. And we hope that this will be something like a big roadmap for all of us to move forward with our partners. That's all, basically. Thank you very much.
Hurmatli Laziz Choriyevich, ta'lim islohotlarining kelajakdagi ustuvor yo'nalishlari bo'yicha qilgan ajoyib taqdimotingiz uchun kattakon rahmat. Ta'lim islohotlarining kelajakdagi ustuvor yo'nalishlari haqida bildirgan fikrlaringizni barchasi o'rinli. National Compact, ya'ni o'sha yo'l xaritasi bu nafaqat xalq ta'lim sohasidagi islohotlarni, balki maktabgacha bo'lgan ta'lim, oliy ta'lim va maktabdan tashqari sohalardagi boshqa islohotlarni ham qo'llab-quvvatlashga qaratilgan. Shuning uchun bugungi tadbir ishtirokchilaridan ushbu ustuvor yo'nalishlar bo'yicha o'z fikrlarini va takliflarini berishda faolroq bo'lishlarini so'rab qolamiz. Agar ularni hozir bermoqchi bo'lsangiz, marhamat, hozir ayni vaqtda o'z fikrlaringizni bering yoki eslatib o'tamiz, ularni yozma tarzda 1-dekabrga qadar email orqali A.Avloniy institutiga yoki UNICEF tashkilotiga ham yuborishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Rahmat. Taklif, munozaralar bo'lsa marhamat, hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari. Marhamat.
Assalomu alaykum. Avvalambor bugungi uchrashuv uchun ta'lim vazirliklariga, qolaversa mana shu xalqaro tashkilotlarga o'zimizni minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz. Hozir mana biz Vazirlar Mahkamasi huzurida ta'lim sifatini nazorat qilish inspeksiyasi boshlig'i o'rinbosariman, Qo'ysinov Odil. Albatta mana shu hozirgi berilgan ma'lumotlar juda ham ta'lim sifati va samaradorligini ta'minlashi juda ham muhim bo'lgan islohotlar va mana shu takliflar deb hisoblayman. Va albatta bugungi mana shu ayni GPA va mana shu Islom taraqqiyot banki tomonidan berilgan takliflar, mana shu loyihalar tayyorlash bo'yicha juda ham bugungi kunda ta'lim sifatini ta'minlashda juda ham bir ustuvor vazifalarni belgilab berishgani bilan ahamiyatli deb hisoblayman. O'zimni takliflarimga ruxsat bersanglar aytib o'tmoqchi edim. Dastlabki birinchisi, demak, biz nafaqat mana shu ta'limda transformatsiya deyapmiz. Bu transformatsiya deganda shu chet elda o'sha ta'lim turlari yoki ta'lim sohasidagi tajribalar emas, bevosita uzluksiz ta'lim tizimi bor, bilasizlar. Ta'lim to'g'risidagi qonunda O'zbekistonda uzluksiz ta'lim tizimi joriy qilingan. Mana shu uzluksiz ta'lim tizimidagi ichki ta'lim turlari aro integratsiya va transformatsiya ham hisobga olinishi va albatta o'sha ichki ta'lim sifatini ichidagi sifatni oshirishga xizmat qiladigan bir muhim omillardan biri deb hisoblaymiz. Va ikkinchisi ta'lim mazmunidagi uzviylik va uzluksizlik. Bu albatta ta'lim sifatini ta'minlashda juda ham muhim bo'ladi. Mana bilamiz, O'zbekistonda hozir 3 ta ta'lim vazirligi bor: maktabgacha ta'lim, xalq ta'limi, oliy o'rta maxsus ta'lim vazirligi. Va albatta bugungi kunda 3 ta ta'lim vazirligini amalga oshirayotgan ishlari diqqatga sazovor. Chunki hozirgi kunda ta'lim muassasalarining ko'payganligi va ularni boshqarish nuqtai nazaridan bu juda ham muhim deb hisoblaymiz. Lekin mazmun jihatdan albatta uzluksiz va uzviy bo'lishi bu albatta sifatni ta'minlaydigan muhim bir omillardan biri deb hisoblash kerak. Albatta loyihalar tayyorlashda, shakllantirishda, natija olishda mana shularga e'tiborni qaratishi maqsadga muvofiq deb hisoblaymiz. Uchinchisi, mana shu dasturlar, metodik va o'qituvchining kompetensiyasi. Ya'ni biz o'sha nimani o'qitamiz deganda dasturdagi uzviylik, qanday o'qitamiz deganda o'sha metodika va o'qituvchining kompetensiyasi, metodika, dars berish jarayoni ham albatta har bitta ta'lim turida o'ziga xos, o'ziga mos bo'lish bilan birgalikda bir-biriga bog'liq bo'lishini ham e'tiborga olinishi juda ham muhim omillardan. Va to'rtinchisi, har bitta ta'lim turida mustaqil ta'limni tashkil etish. Mana oliy ta'limda biz kredit modul tizimiga o'tyapmiz. Xalq ta'limi tizimida mantiqiy fikrlash degan ustuvor vazifani qo'yapmiz. Maktabgacha ta'limda o'quvchilarimiz erkin fikrlasin deyapmiz. Demak, har bittasining negizida mustaqil ta'lim turibdi. Demak, albatta mana shu loyihalarni mazmunini shakllantirishda mana shu mustaqil ta'lim mexanizmlarini ishlab chiqishga ham biz asosiy e'tiborni qaratishimiz kerak. Va so'nggisi, albatta raqamlashtirish. Ya'ni har bitta ta'lim turida ta'lim resurslarini o'sha mazmunga, kontentga mos ravishda tayyorlanishi, o'quvchining o'zlashtirish uchun kerak bo'ladigan didaktik vosita darajasiga olib chiqilishi, men o'ylayman, juda ham muhim bo'lgan omillardan. Va bugungi mana shu seminarda o'sha tashkilotchilardan va ishtirokchilardan so'ragan bo'lardimki, har bitta loyihani shakllantirishda, natijasini olishda mana shu jihatlarga e'tibor berilishi albatta sifatni ta'minlovchi muhim omillardan deb hisoblaymiz. Rahmat.
Rahmat kattakon. O'zbekiston Respublikasi Vazirlar Mahkamasi huzuridagi ta'lim sifatini nazorat qilish davlat inspeksiyasi rahbari o'rinbosari hurmatli Qo'ysinov Odil Almuradovich, sizga bildirgan o'z fikrlaringiz va takliflaringiz uchun chuqur minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz. Hamda kelajakdagi ustuvor yo'nalishlar bo'yicha yo'l xaritasini shakllantirishda bildirgan fikrlaringizni albatta inobatga olishimizni eslatib o'tmoqchiman. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, marhamat, Sizda ham qo'lingizni ko'tardingiz. Marhamat.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые коллеги, партнер. Меня зовут Айсхан Бахадыров. Я работаю в управлении ООН по наркотикам и преступности, региональный офис в Центральной Азии, в Ташкенте. Вот, послушав доклады уважаемых выступающих, у нас есть несколько предложений на ваше рассмотрение. Во-первых, насчет технического задания. Мы посмотрели данное техническое задание, и вот есть ряд предложений по улучшению контента данного технического задания. Поскольку и национальные приоритеты, и приоритет группы по местному образованию направлены на достижение цели устойчивого развития, было бы хорошо добавить конкретно цели и индикаторы цели устойчивого развития, к чему мы стремимся, чтобы при оценке и при рассмотрении национального компакта было ясно, какой вот индикатор и какой измеряемый результат будет принят во внимание. Также это коррелируется с тем, чтобы задачи данной группы тоже были сформулированы с позиции смарт-индикатора, то есть конкретный, достижимый, с указанием точных временных рамок, с тем, чтобы при регулярном рассмотрении прогресса было на чего наталкиваться и с чем мы сравниваться, потому что в настоящий момент многие задачи формулированы как бы на управление процессами, причем различными, но не указано, к какому конечному результату мы должны стремиться. Насчет контента теперь, вот, направления и функции данной группы, мы предлагаем на ваше рассмотрение добавить также тему вот, внедрения культуры этики, честности, добропорядочности и верховенства закона, потому что, на самом деле, основными бенефициарами формы образования это дети и молодежь. С тем, чтобы они были всесторонне развитыми личностями, готовыми кадрами для экономики, для следующих ступеней образования. И в настоящее время система образования готовит не только кадров по предметным направлениям, либо только по STEM, либо вот по точным или социально-гуманитарным наукам, но и так называемым софт-навыкам, тем навыкам, которые нужны для рынка труда, те навыки, которые им позволяют найти свое место в обществе и также способствует построению справедливых и мирных сообществ. В рамках нашей работы мы сталкиваемся с такими данными, как вот последние 2-3 года есть определенная тенденция роста преступлений, совершаемых несовершеннолетними. Есть тенденция по видам преступлений, которых вовлекается молодежь, допустим, с 13 до 17 лет, включая на активное употребление с новыми психоактивными веществами и наркотическими средствами. То есть наше видение – это посмотреть на систему образования немножко шире и добавить те элементы, которые будут именно способствовать к развитому обществу, государству и гармоничному развитию личности. Со своей стороны мы готовы вот предложить нашу экспертизу, чтобы в национальном компакте также были рассмотрены специальные образовательные модули по профилактике предупреждения преступности, по профилактике коррупции и поощрения культуры верховенства закона и нулевой терпимости к коррупционным фактам. Насчет субгруппы есть техническое предложение. Вот докладчики предложили, что будут 6 групп, причем 3 последние – это по инклюзии и по STEM, по инфраструктуре. Мы предлагаем, что эти данные 3 сабгруппы должны еще также активно быть вовлечены в первых 3 группах, чтобы это было интегрировано на уровне вот дошкольного образования, школьного образования и высшего образования. Таким образом, пакет как бы запрашиваемой финансовой помощи, а также национальный компакт будет именно системно показывать, как вот эти 3 элементы будет способствовать построению именно системы непрерывного образования, о котором говорил в начале выступления господин министр. И мы поддерживаем данное стремление всех рабочих групп и готовы принять частично участие. Спасибо.
Hurmatli Azizxon Bahadirov, Birlashgan Millatlar Tashkilotining narkotiklar va jinoyatchilik bo'yicha boshqarmasi nomidan National Compact hamda ishchi guruhlar haqida bildirgan fikrlaringiz uchun albatta sizga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, xonimlar va janoblar, bugungi uchrashuvimiz jonli tarzda Zoom platformasi orqali ham efirga uzatilmoqda va bizni yaqindan kuzatib borayotgan hamkor tashkilotlarimizda ham bugungi ta'kidlab o'tilgan mavzular yuzasidan bir qator savollar bor ekan. Keling, ularni ham efirga uzatsak-da, ularni ham savollarini eshitib, takliflarini eshitib inobatga olib qo'ysak. Marhamat. Miss Seda, if you have questions, please.
Thanks a lot, everyone. First of all, and Assalamu alaikum. I would like to congratulate, first of all, the government for the analytical approach that the government has taken for education reforms in the country and the positive steps that the government is taking to improve education quality. I would also like to thank GPE for opening these different opportunities for the country. The World Bank, I would like to indicate interest in supporting the government as grant agents for systematic capacity grant, as well as for multiplier grants. We would submit a written expression of interest too. The World Bank is currently supporting assessment of quality education in the country and has the technical, analytical, and research experience to support the country in the analysis required for the partnership compact as well. Additionally, the World Bank can also raise funds to unlock the GPE multiplier funds, and we would submit a written indication of interest for that as well. One point that I wanted to ask was on the system capacity grant. In the next steps that were outlined in the presentation, it seemed that the application for system capacity grant can only be submitted after the partnership compact is developed. But my question is whether the system capacity grant can be used for the development of the partnership compact, as that would be a very useful resource to do the analysis of the enabling factors and the situation in the country to develop a robust partnership compact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think this question is directed to Ms. Lena Bennett. If you can, please, briefly.
Thank you very much for this intervention and the interest. I would like to say that during the next steps, there will be the immediate accessing of the system capacity grant addressed, because it's true that it is available for the compact development. I mean, the certain percentage of the system capacity grant. And the remaining system capacity grant would be aligned with a priority identified through the process of the enabling factors and compact development. So you are right in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you.
We would like also to express our sincerest gratitude to World Bank, represented by Sadia Iqbal, for speaking about World Bank stance and the interesting questions on GP's grant programs. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar va bizni Zoom orqali kuzatib borayotgan hamkor tashkilot vakillari, marhamat, qandaydir savollaringiz, bugungi mavzu yuzasidan, bugungi tadbirimiz mavzusi yuzasidan qandaydir sizda savol va takliflaringiz bo'lsa, marhamat, ularni hozir berishingiz mumkin. Va eslatib o'tamiz, o'z takliflaringizni yana bir marta yozma tarzda A.Avloniy institutiga hamda UNICEF tashkilotiga email orqali ham joriy yilning 1 dekabriga qadar yuborishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Hurmatli Xonimlar va janoblar, biz bugungi tadbirimizning kulminatsion nuqtalariga yetib kelyapmiz. Bugungi uchrashuvda ko'tarilgan asosiy masalalar sarhisobi hamda kelajakdagi qadamlarni umumiylashtirish uchun galdagi so'z navbatini A.Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot instituti rektori hurmatli Ayubxon Baxtiyorxonovичga bersak marhamat.
Katta rahmat. Again, with the kind permission, I'll just continue in English. In order to summarize today's important and vital meeting, I would like to point out four important areas to focus on, which we agreed at the following. So the first one, again, which is the LEC TOR terms of reference and subgroup structure, approved with consideration of all comments. Again, we will make sure that all the comments given by our international and local partners will be included and rethought again, and amendments which were done today. The second area, which is the Ministry of Public Education, we would like to re-announce that it activates the working group on the partnership compact development. So again, we are ready to work with you to develop the partnership compact document, and we are requesting GPE financial and technical support for this work with UNICEF involvement as a grant agent. And thirdly, Ministry of Public Education is inviting all interested development partners to share with us details of any additional financing and projects to finalize the applications for GPE multiplier grant before December 1st, 2022. And again, here I would like to highlight our beloved partners from the World Bank and many other international organizations, including Asian Development Bank and others, to take this important date into note. And should you have any and proposals, feel free to contact us. Then the ministry will finalize the express of interest based on the proposals received from our international grant holders and initiate the development of the project within the framework of the LAC and in parallel with the compact developed. And lastly, the Ministry of Public Education will prepare the timeline based on GPE procedures to assess possible opportunities for funding and will keep the LAC members informed on this. And again, today's meeting is just a call for proposals, and today we're not finalizing anything related to the future endeavors. We just want to highlight the openness of the Ministry of Public Education for any initiatives regarding the improvement of education sector of Uzbekistan, especially the areas, the three major areas mentioned by the Ministry of Public Education, that are the infrastructure of the schools, improvement of teacher skills, and assessment. Thank you very much.
Hurmatli Ayubxon Baxtiyorxonovich, bugungi uchrashuvda ko'tarilgan asosiy masalalar va kelajakdagi qadamlarni umumiylashtirib berganingiz uchun sizga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz va ushbu masala yuzasidan UNICEFning ta'lim bo'limi boshlig'i janob Alberto Bankoliga ham so'z navbatini bersak. Marhamat janob.
Thank you. I think everything already been said. Just from the UNICEF side, how we will support the Ministry of Public Education, particularly the A.Avloniy Institute, on the coordination side. On the functioning of the LEC, very clearly the working subgroup are the meat, the substance behind how we will be working. So as UNICEF, we will call you to come forward and to share your interests to be part of one or any of this group, and also to clarify that after today's meeting, there will be a review of the composition of the groups, and there is no limits to the number of groups that are activated. Those that were presented are based on active engagement of more than one partner. What is important to highlight is that it was a proposal to activate another group on TVET, or the proposal on about from UNODC. There is no limits on establishment of subgroup as long as partner there is leadership and there is willingness from the partners that want to establish those groups to actually support UNICEF on coordination, but mostly of supporting the government in activating them. So the several deadlines were shared during the meeting. Again, we will use the next couple of weeks. Please come forward with your suggestions and also with your list of technical names. I know this is very useful, not only to the ministry, but also to the partners to have an active list of projects. And that's what we will be working with the ministry to have the full list of development partners projects, initiatives that are existing, but most importantly, that are coming to support the education sector. And that's where the development of the compact will be crucial to guide the process under the very clear leadership that was mentioned today by the Ministry of Education and the public education. Finally, let me also say that this venue is meant to happen on a quarterly basis. So we will have more of these meetings, particularly the next quarter will be around March next year, and will be an opportunity to present the functioning, the projects, the initiatives under the subgroups that will be established, but also to discuss the draft of the compact itself. So in that meeting, again, as UNICEF, we welcome development partners if you have specific agenda points or presentation that you would like to make to really come forward, and together with the A.Avloniy institutes and the Ministry of Public Education, we will make that functioning in the agenda of the next leg meeting. I will stop here, and just to say, again, acknowledging the presence of many of you, development partners, but also to say that we already have on board a youth representative coming today in this very first meeting, but also engaging more teachers themselves, civil society, and all the actors that are very much engaged in the education sector. This is a group that is meant to bring together all voices that are there to support the government in transforming the education system. Thank you.
Mr. Biancoli, thank you very much for your wonderful speech and for your kind assistance in developing our applications to GPE future grants. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, bugungi tadbirimiz o'zining yakuniy pallalariga kirib bormoqda. Yakunlovchi qismiga o'tishdan oldin barcha tadbir ishtirokchilaridan yana bir bor so'rab qolmoqchi edim. Bugungi tadbirda ko'tarilgan mavzular yuzasidan agar sizlarda qanaqadir takliflar va mulohazalar bo'lsa, marhamat, ularni bizga aytib o'ting. Biz albatta ularni grant loyihalariga arizalarni tashkillashtirayotganimizda inobatga olamiz. Va eslatib o'tamiz, ularni yozma tarzda ham bizga taqdim etishingiz mumkin. Bugungi mahalliy ta'lim guruhi davra suhbatiga yakun yasab berish uchun so'z navbatini Xalq ta'limi vaziri hurmatli Baxtiyor Odilevichga bersak, marhamat.
Rahmat. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, albatta men yana qaytarib o'taman. Yana qayta sizlarga minnatdorchiligimni bildirmoqchiman. Bugungi tadbir o'zi bir alohida muhim ahamiyatga ega. Aynan birinchi navbatda Xalq ta'limi vazirligi uchun va o'ylaymanki boshqa ta'lim tashkilotlariga ham bu taalluqli. Lekin shu bilan birga aytib o'tish joiz, biz mana bundan oldin ham tadbirda ishtirok etib, tadbirda ko'p masalalarni demak ilgari surganmiz, o'rtaga tashlaganmiz, mulohaza yuritganmiz, fikr almashganmiz. Va albatta bugungi tadbirda men o'ylaymanki juda bir muhim va bir aniq kerak bo'lsa rejalarni belgilab oldik. Endi hozir aytib o'tildi, yuqorida barcha o'sha hamkor tashkilotlarimizdan iltimos qilib qolamiz. Agar qanaqadir takliflar bo'lsa, endi hozir gapirilmagan bo'lsa, yozma ravishda shu takliflarni berishingizni iltimos qilamiz va bu borada mana hozir hamkasblarimiz tomonidan demak prezentatsiya qilinganda aytib o'tildi, ya'ni birinchi navbatda biz yo'l xaritani qilishimiz, o'sha yo'l xaritani qilinishida, o'sha yo'l xaritani ishlab chiqilishida asosiy muhim demak bir ahamiyatga ega bu sizlarning takliflaringiz bo'ladi. Va albatta bu O'zbekistonda o'sha ta'lim tizimini rivojlantirish bo'yicha strategiyasidan kelib chiqib, kerak bo'lsa o'sha yo'l xaritasi ishlab chiqiladi. Va bu yo'l xaritasini muvofiqlashtirish bo'yicha agar ruxsatinglar bilan mana UNICEF bilan hamkorlikda aynan muvofiqlashtiruvchi bir organ sifatida, tashkilot sifatida, xalqaro tashkilot sifatida bir qabul qilsakda, UNICEF shuni muvofiqlashtirish bilan birgalikda Xalq ta'limi vazirligi bilan hamkorlikda o'sha chora-tadbir, ya'ni yo'l xaritasini keyin demak amaliyotda demak tatbiq qilinishida o'zlarini hissasini qo'shadi degan umiddaman. Shu bilan birga hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, biz bu plashatkani, bu platformani o'zimiz uchun juda bir muhim platforma deb bilamiz va bu platformadan kerak bo'lsa xolisona va juda bir yaqindan foydalanmoqchimizki, qanaqadir bu platforma bir o'ziga xos, unikal va bir o'ziga xos bir bu platforma muhim bo'lib qoldi, chunki bu platformada barcha mana shu O'zbekistondagi, nafaqat O'zbekistondagi, balkim O'zbekiston bilan hamkorlik qiladigan barcha xalqaro tashkilotlari vakillari shu guruhda bor va bu guruhning aktiv faol o'sha aktiv faoliyati biz uchun juda kerak. Shundan kelib chiqib, hurmatli do'stlar, hurmatli hamkasblar, hurmatli o'sha hamkorlarimiz, men barchangizga o'zimni chuqur minnatdorchiligimni bildirmoqchiman. Ayniqsa mana biz ko'pdan ko'p ishlaydigan, o'sha ko'p muloqotda bo'ladigan barcha tashkilotlar, har bir men o'sha uchrashganimda, o'zim uchrashganimda ham sizlarni barcha taklifinglarni, barcha o'sha fikringlarni inobatga olishga harakat qildik. Biz umuman umumta'lim maktablar tizimini rivojlanishida barcha xalqaro tashkilotlar va nafaqat xalqaro tashkilotlar, balkim xorijiy davlatlar, ya'ni davlat hamkorlarimizni ham kerak bo'lsa taklifi biz uchun muhim. Biz ham o'zimizga bir xos mos tajribaga egamiz, lekin biz bugungi zamon talabiga, bugungi kerak bo'lsa davr talabiga o'sha raqobat bardosh bo'ladigan, javob bera oladigan ilg'or tajribalarni ham tatbiq qilishdan hech qachon qochmaymiz va albatta buni tatbiq qilishga harakat qilamiz. Va shu ilg'or tajribani tatbiq qilinishda sizlarning kerak bo'lsa sizlarning yordaminglarga biz juda muhtojmiz. Va bu yordam faqatgina o'sha biz hozir aytib o'tilganidek, bu demak qanaqadir grant yo'nalishi emas, faqatgina kerak bo'lsa o'sha mablag', ya'ni moliyaviy mablag' emas, balkim qimmatli fikr, mulohaza, umuman strategiyani ishlab chiqilishida, yana ham rivojlantirilishida bizni o'sha kerak bo'lsa tajriba muhim ahamiyat kasb etadi. E'tiboringiz uchun katta rahmat. Agar qanaqadir yana bir masalalar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, marhamat yana bir bor sizlardan so'rab qolamiz. Katta rahmat ishtirokchilar uchun.
Rahmat kattakon. Hurmatli tadbir ishtirokchilari, eslatib o'tmoqchiman, bugungi tadbirimiz UNICEF tashkiloti bilan hamkorlikda, yaqinlikda tashkil etilyapti va bugungi tadbirimizni ta'lim guruhini muvofiqlashtiruvchi agentlik rahbari janob Munir Mamadzodaga ham yakuniy fikrlar uchun so'z navbatini bersak. Marhamat, janob.
Rahmat. With your permission, I conclude with a couple of words in English. I think I took a note of the comments and points, and I think I want to highlight few of them. First, as Mr. Kojakulov mentioned, we want to see full ownership and leadership of the government in that process and prevent fragmentation as much as possible. And I'm personally convinced that with His Excellency Mr. Saidov's direct engagement already for the second time, this is the level of ownership demonstrated that we're expecting from the government, and we're expecting this compact development process to lead in a way that we have very specific ask from the government, and we contribute, we do our best collectively as international development community to support you in that journey. There is no other agenda for us. There are no any other priorities for us except helping government to succeed with its reform agenda, right? So this is first point. Second, of course, my colleague from UNODC mentioned that we need to pay attention to having smart targets and indicators, etc. I think this is given, and I think this is GPE requirement as well, but also the way we work in UN and among development partners without having clear targets and indicators aligned to SDGs and national development strategy, there is no way forward. So you can be assured of that. But of course, I hope you will be fully engaged and support us also in articulating it clearly. On the synchronizing processes, I think it's linked to my first point around ownership of the government, because I know I was invited, for example, to the Minister of Foreign Affairs with the request to support government as UNICEF to produce roadmap for the public education sector reform. So I think now we need to streamline and synchronize that processes. Otherwise, we will end up having one plan for the government roadmap, then compact for partners, then, I don't know, project-based, we already have many documents and more are coming in. So I think it is critical to have this overarching vision and compact for us to be clearly able to see not only what development partners are bringing to the table, but also what is state investing in relevant areas, because development agencies' contribution, it's actually drop in the ocean at the end of the day. So what we're looking for is also helping government to do better. We already in my speech referred to all the high level of investment in public education, but how we can become more efficient, how we can prevent malpractices, how we become more effective in terms of decentralized engagement, as Your Excellency mentioned about school management, for example, how we decentralize these kind of practical measures to become more effective. So what I'm trying to say that this is the process that I hope my colleagues from development agencies would concur me and support, that we're looking forward to have. And of course, we as UNICEF, as a leg coordinating agency among development partners, make sure that the process of designing compact is inclusive, that you are all actively involved. And also, I think most importantly, we need to already almost immediately activate subgroups, because we cannot just talk about broader terms all the time, right? So we need to go and unpack subsectors or proposed areas of engagement, so that at the end it is compiled together and we see the full picture by putting all the puzzles along. So this is all from my end. I thank also Lina and GPE, of course, Sarah, for joining, and all the colleagues present today. I see the full commitment. I'm a bit worried that there are not much comments though, but I'm sure there will be during the compact development and at the more technical elaboration stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mammadzadeh, for your final remarks and opinions. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, bugungi mahalliy ta'lim guruhi davra suhbati o'z nihoyasiga yetdi. Tashrif buyurganingiz uchun va tadbir kun tartibidan o'rin olgan muhim masalalar bo'yicha bildirgan fikr va takliflaringiz uchun Xalq ta'limi vazirligi nomidan hamda A.Avloniy nomidagi Milliy tadqiqot instituti nomidan o'z minnatdorchiligimizni izhor etib qolamiz. Barchangizga yaxshi kayfiyat tilaymiz. Rahmat kattakon.
And thank you for excellent moderation.
Oh, thank you for this. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, bizda coffee break bor. Marhamat.